Hello and welcome everybody back once again to the GT4 Rookie and GT4 Open Championship. We're here at the lovely Spa Francorchamps, and tonight I am Mike Nause, joined in the booth by a new face around town. It's going to be Saagar Bakshi. Saagar, welcome.
Hey, thank you very much for having me, Mike. Really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to having a wonderful GT4 round here at Spa Francorchamps. There's not a lot of leagues that do GT4 racing, so this will be really exciting to see how the rookies do out here in just a single class matchup.
Absolutely. It's going to be a very difficult track to tackle for them. Last week, they didn't have too much of a break themselves. It was Hungaroring, of course, followed up now this time around by Spa Francorchamps in the lovely Ardennes region, a 4.3-mile circuit that has been, well, around since basically the dawn of time, 1921, as well as I just want to say before we get on into this, welcome everybody here in chat. I see we got Potsweaver joining us, Rally Dutchy, George, we got Doc Milwee, we got Roro joining us, new here, Potsweaver, Sword and Keyboard, Drew, we got a lot of people here tonight. Hi as well, Eric, welcome everybody. I hope everyone's having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. We have a jam-packed evening ahead of us, and not just ahead of us here tonight, but ahead of us in general. Let's head on over and check out the calendar really fast before we move on. We have, of course, the GT4 Rookie Championship. That's what you're watching here tonight, along with the GT4 Open. Any of these championships that I'm talking about are all going to be available on SimGrid. Link in chat. You want to look at signing up for some of these street stock championships that we have over on iRacing. TRACKILICIOUS has been getting into that a little bit, dipping the toe towards the iRacing side of things. We have a street stock championship and a Superlight Formula Thursdays and Tuesdays. Wednesday being Syntho Drive as well as West Coast Wednesday. We're coming up now to Imola, the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari, and of course the end of the month being the Road to the SRO Community World Challenge. That'll also be at Spa Francorchamps. GT3 main event as well, the Sunday Championship, going to be over at Indy next week. The Kyalami race was quite exciting. If you guys missed that, highly recommend going back and checking out the VODs. But before we move actually off of that screen, also a big thank you to all of our patrons. They're wonderful, wonderful names on screen. Thank you all so much for your guys' continued support. And I think there's a couple names that need to be added onto this list still. But again, you guys make what we do here possible, and not just our patrons, but our Twitch subscribers, as well as any donors that have contributed in the past. You guys are absolutely amazing. Now tonight, again, we have a very exciting race with the rookies as well as the Open. It's 33 rookies taking the field here tonight in a split qualifying. And why don't we head on down to the action, Saagar, and check it out. Black screen of anticipation, though, first. There it is.
And what an amazing lineup of events that TRACKILICIOUS hosts, too. If you're not familiar, you better get familiar with some of the TRACKILICIOUS events. It's every single time zone in North America is included in there. Every single day of the week there's an event. So you got to find something that was your cup of tea at least.
Most certainly, or energy drink, as I take a nice little hydration before we move on to here. And the qualifying ahead of us. No times yet on the board, but is of course one of the longer out laps. We see some drivers, I think, coming through here to start. I think this will be the first lap that Derek Santiago sets, and I'm not sure if it has been valid or not, through that final sector. And again, these are one of the more tricky cars to be driving out there, the Porsche Cayman, the GT4. It's rear-engined, going to be slipping and sliding, especially through that Eau Rouge Radeon complex. And here at 14 minutes, or rather 4 minutes left in qualifying. It'll pretty much only be 2 more lap attempts here for Derek Santiago. He's going to be pole position, but I don't think that one needed to be stated, as he's the only driver with a lap.
And that Porsche is pretty light, but not on the lightest side of the grid. The McLaren, the Expo, and a few others being a little bit lighter than that Porsche would be expected to be on the lightest side, but definitely not. That Expo coming in at the lightest car there. But one of the most difficult cars to drive that I keep on hearing about is that Expo, just really being untamed.
Yeah, KTM is, I think, being piloted by Carson Kass tonight, the absolute nut who is crazy in the coconut and will be joining us later in the booth for the Open. He has gone and made an absolute ugly paint scheme as well, which, his words, not mine. We'll be taking a look at it a little bit here, as it's just an absolute paint splatter. And we see some Alex support in chat, some let's go Alex, just a couple times. So cheering on who I'm assuming is going to be, let's see, which Alex?
Errol in 21st, maybe?
Is there an Alex? Where's it? Am I blind? Who's Alex?
Oh no.
Is that for the Open later? That might be for the Open later on. That very well could be. But either way, these cars out on track currently. Pole time a 2:32.4. Certainly not quite the lap times that you'd be seeing into the near 2 minutes with the GT3s, or rather 212s, 215s. I think you'd be seeing. It's quite a lap time difference here being set. And the GT4s, though, being the more kind of mechanical cars, I guess, to drive. Less aerodynamically involved. They don't need that invisible mumbo-jumbo nonsense called downforce, which, let's be real, who even understands that? Certainly not Adrian Newey. But the KTM here is one of those cars that definitely takes from the lack of downforce. It's not really good at driving in a straight line. It's not really good at driving out of a corner. And it's not really good at top speed either. So it's just kind of all around an all-right car.
Yeah, definitely these GT4s are momentum vehicles. You got to carry as much speed into the corners as possible and really cruise through because you're not going to have as much acceleration out of these corners that you'd really expect. And like you said, you're not getting any of those fancy aero packages that you'd get. These are all based on basically turnkey cars that you'd get on the road. So if you walked into your local dealership, some of these are actually available to get for just about anybody. And seeing the this Porsche Cayman GT4, those are actually racing this weekend at Laguna Seca up against the 911s, and now Carson Kass gets the commentator's curse as we just looked at him get his flyer going.
Brutal. Would have had one more lap if he wanted it, but that is going to do it. And hey, you mentioned that Porsche not 992, excuse me, the Porsche Cayman. If you are interested in picking up that 718 Cayman GT4, you can find one at your local dealership for around $212,000 if that's right up your alleyway. So definitely
pocket change.
Yeah, pocket change. Yeah, for sure.
I could afford that on the Tracklicious salary cap we have going for us.
Of course, I'm driving the company Huracan still. It's been in the garage, though, for a little bit, so I've recently been having to take, unfortunately, our Audi out, and it's been, you know, it's neither here nor there. Also, let's try to keep the spam in the chat down a little bit. Maybe I appreciate the support.
Time for you.
Appreciate the support, though, guys. We do, but let's keep the character limit down a little bit.
A terrible time for you driving that Audi R8 around. I know how terrible that could possibly be when I drive around the Tracklicious Golf GTI. These times, though, expecting to see some down into the 230s based on the timing bot that we have set up. And most gentlemen here and ladies look like they're running around the 232 to 234 mark. Is that going to be the benchmark that we expect to see here going forward?
Yeah, I would think so for the track conditions. We're on optimum track, 33 degrees temp, which is a little bit warmer than maybe the server was. I'm not sure, but also, chat, you guys are all good. Don't worry about it. Just want to throw that out there. I appreciate the support. I love the energy, and we'll keep that rolling. Don't worry about it. But yeah. And race pace is going to be around, as Carson says there, 232s to 235s is what he expects, I would imagine, from himself there. And yeah, as qualifying would pretty much reflect that. Again, we're in a pretty warm track condition right now, so the lap times will maybe improve a little bit. But it's rookies. You never know. Anything can happen in racing, and it normally does, especially when you're in the rookie league.
100%. And tire wear will be very important as well. We talked about momentum vehicles and kind of scrubbing the tire through these corners without that aero package. Managing tires, I bet, is going to be a huge thing on the driver's mind. Or do you think some of them might just kind of negate that and negate thinking about that and just push to their heart's content?
It's only 2 20-minute races, so I'm pretty sure most drivers are going to be pushing to their heart's content for the most part. Tire wear not going to be too much of a limiting factor at the end of the 20-minute stint, though it could be. It never definitely might want to be a little conservative rather than aggressive in terms of it, but I'm sure we'll be seeing these tires thoroughly scrubbed by the end of this 20-minute session.
Oh, that's completely fair to think about. And graining is kind of the thing that's been on my mind. Look at these liveries. Gosh, I got a little distracted there seeing this wonderful GTA 6 livery in front of us. But just scrubbing of the tires and that warm-up time is mainly what I'm concerned with. There's not a lot of curbs that'll puncture tires here at Spa-Francorchamps, but just the graining overall and the warm-up phase is my main concern that these drivers will have to deal with or face the consequences of at the end of the 20 minutes, and may favor those that just were patient with their tire buildup. But then again, you know, track position is always key, especially at a track like Spa.
Yeah, I mean, you say Spa is one of those tracks as well, though, that's overtaking is going to be a opportunity, unlike last week where qualifying was make or break, more or less. This time around, you're going to have a good run down that Kemmel Straight, about, what is it, 1 kilometer? Yeah, 1 kilometer, about over half a mile long down that long Kemmel Straight, which looks fairly flat, but I assure you it's quite a long uphill. And, of course, we have that famous Eau Rouge Radion complex. Now, Saagar, do you know why Eau Rouge is named Eau Rouge?
Ooh. I'm not familiar. I'm not going to pretend to say I know. Do you have that in front of you?
I do, in fact. It is because there is a famous stream that runs underneath the creek. It's also named Eau Rouge, and it stands for red water, and that's due to the fact that there's a very rich iron ore deposit in the stream. It's about 15 kilometers long, and so it has red water from time to time, so that is why they called it that. And it runs underneath the track.
Very interesting tidbits of information. And okay, question for you. How many times do you think that Spa-Francorchamps has been changed since the war?
Since the war? Well, it definitely got a massive overhaul in, what was it, 1969, when the track got boycotted briefly until I think 1983, where it then made a resumption on the new circuit. So I think it's been changed 3 times in its past.
You're dead on balls accurate, sir. That is absolutely correct. Wow. I had to go to a different news source to get all that information going, but you're absolutely right. And some of these changes were just life-saving changes, like you talked about.
Understatement. Using trees as barriers was not necessarily the greatest idea. We learned that one from some unfortunate incidents over the years here.
100%. Ben, this has become an iconic racetrack ever since then, and just one of the most beautifully loved tracks in the world. I think everybody can hear the word Spa-Francorchamps and know that we're going to one of the most iconic endurance tracks in the world.
Absolutely. And of course, just having come off the 24 hours of Spa from SRO and watching that with the MSI car taking the win at the end of the day over the Williams car, as much as it pains me to say, but that was still an incredible race. If you guys did miss that Spa event, which we have the real 24 hours of Spa this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but it's coming up soon. I know that. Just want to say as well, welcome to everybody that's joining us. I see we got a lot of folks here tonight. Carlos joining us, as well as Dr. Porkchop. Bluix, thank you very much for the compliment, as well as Roro again. I think thank you for joining Sword and Keyboard, and Neo Kabuki joining us as well. Thank you all so much here tonight. Coffee Junkie, love the name. Thank you guys. Hope you're all having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. We got about 5 minutes left here in this final stint of qualifying before we get on to the actual session itself. And we see this driver here, Mr. Rue. Now, he's put some work in over the course here of the previous qualifying sessions. In fact, we've calculated the mileage that he's driven. We know on the Hungaroring he drove from, I think it was Tampa to Atlanta or something along those lines. Well, this time around, he has driven from basically, was it San Francisco all the way to Las Vegas. He has driven a total of 305 miles in practice, or over 107 laps. And that's just in 117 laps, apologies. And that's just in the practice server, not to mention if he had any laps in any others.
Absolutely insane level of practice for just the practice server that has gone live tracking this information. Can't only imagine what he's done in offline setup work to make sure that this car has been dialed in while he goes and attacks that 2:30 time frame. You're absolutely right. The Spa-Francorchamps 24 hours is coming up for the GT World Challenge Endurance Cup. So that'll be going on in the IGTC as well this weekend. And then not to mention that we just had the 6 hours of Spa just a couple of weeks ago, right before the 24 hours of Le Mans, and wasn't that a heck of a show?
Yeah, I gotta say, Spa is never one to disappoint. It's got the overtaking opportunities. It's got a little bit for everybody, right? It's got a fast roller coaster sector that we're coming now down into, heading through Brussels into No Name, and then through the famous sweeping Pouan, which is, of course, I think Fernando Alonso's favorite corner. He once said that there is no corner that is ever a better feeling to get right than that one, but you can almost never do so. Also, Sword and Keyboard giving a shout out there to the number 33. That's Matt Melanson, currently our pole sitter at the moment, with a 231.3, if I can speak. Wow. Words are hard enough. And rocking the time charts here by about 5/10 at the moment. We'll see if Mr. Rue can respond. He currently doesn't have a lap set, and we know the amount of times that he's put in through practice. Has it paid off?
A lot of things to love about Spa as well, including the fact they just even added stuff for motorcycles, becoming that FIA motorcycle grade track with some of the new things that they've added. And love to see the motorcycles going around here through the new, if I'm not mistaken, that would be Speaker's Corner chicane that they've set up now.
That terrifies me. As a MotoGP fan, as an avid MotoGP fan, I don't necessarily want to see motorcycles around this track anymore. It happened in the past. There's a reason we don't race motorcycles here, folks. It's a little too quick, but I feel you would need to throw a chicane into the Kemmel Straight if you really wanted to make it possible. I don't know.
Oh, I'd love to see them come back. It's like getting a taste of the Bugatti circuit when they go around, right? It's like a little taste of Le Mans-esque, but just a different flavor of it. I love it, and I would die to see some motorcycles go around this place.
You might, if you were on it. If you were on a motorcycle, that might be a reality that could happen. That's, again, what scares me.
Oh, man.
But no, again, as somebody, I love motorcycles in general and watching motorcycles race, but Eau Rouge Radion, seeing them, I don't even know how a motorcycle would go through. I mean, I know there's obviously footage of it out there, but watching them in racecraft and seeing Marc Marquez as well as, I mean, Pecco Bagnaia go side by side up Eau Rouge Radion would maybe be one of the most exciting things that I've ever seen, but also it could end up very, very poorly, and I think that's obvious. And let's, again... We'll see. We'll see. If they are actually riding the superbikes here, I am going to be watching, trust me. And Chonkzilla making a very good point in chat that I will not necessarily say, but I will agree with.
Well, we do have the 8 hours Spa EWC motos that they run in here, and so you'll see some sort of superbikes running out here.
It's just terrifying.
This year. Actually, excuse me, they just ran June 7th through June 8th.
Really?
If my brain serves me correct. Yeah, so... go ahead and find that online. It should be on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, FIM EWC. And that's actually something that's going on to my saved playlist tonight to watch.
Heck yeah, I'll have to check that out. That'll be really exciting. Also, I see Blue X cheering on. Is it Skylar Lovrink? Are you a Skylar Lovrink fan? Which Skylar? And there's no Skylar in this current race, I know that. But if you are a Skylar Lovrink fan, that's not a terrible choice to have, that's for sure.
A few people have shown up early to cheer for their fan favorites. I think Alex Freeman is in the next session, actually, not in this session. And then Skylar, I don't see Skylar on this chart myself, unless you're familiar.
No, Skylar Smith, I'm assuming, is going to be in the open as well, car number 19. No, Skylar Smith's in the session. I'm blind. My apologies. Skylar Smith, the number 20 Camaro, currently sitting in pit lane in P20.
Looking good in that snakeskin livery, and here we see a green, what is this, the Rexy or Roxy version now? Rexy, the green AO Porsche. Love it.
What's it going to be? Seth Lincoln on an improvement here. He's going to be coming to the line 4/10 off of pole position. It's going to be an improvement by about 6/10 and up into P12. Not a bad shout, and that will be the end of his qualifying session for now.
And just getting to the end of this qualifying session, so this will be everybody's last run of it from as far as I can tell. I think everybody else who's crossed the line is done. So everybody getting out here, really throwing it everything that they have at the ring here.
Philip Lee up in 8th position there, smashing that final lap. Chase Donnelly looking to do something similar as well. Currently 3.5 off of pole position. I'm not sure we're going to be seeing him climb the charts up to that levels, but a top 10 is certainly on the cards as he comes to the line here from P11. It's going to be P9. Not terrible, 233.2. And that should be the end of quali, or did, I guess Kyle Hesslin got we got a couple more to go. My apologies. We still got Kyle Hesslin, and Seth Lincoln, I don't think got across the line in time. So one more
Not bad at all. What an improvement. Nearly an entire second of improvement there for, who was that? Lee was the one we were watching? Excuse me, Donnelly. What an improvement for them. That's absolutely insane. Jumping from 11th all the way up into 9th place. That gap is bigger than it seems in my eyes, but the improvement there can be taken across this entire track. When you're talking about a 2-minute 30-second lap and you think about percentages, right? What percentage is just a second? What percentage is just a tenth? It's margins. It's really just margins of it. 1 second over 2 minutes is not even a percent, or excuse me, is 1/10, 120th, excuse me, math. I may be Indian, but math is not my forte. I apologize. But
Don't
you
worry, I
catch my
can correct
drift.
you.
Yeah, they're chasing 10ths out here, despite the entire gaps that we're seeing all the way from first back. I see 230 up at the top for Melanson, if I'm not mistaken, and then down all the way to Smith, 7 seconds back. So that's going to be a 237 for him on this grueling track.
Yeah, and it is, of course, for the fun fact that everyone loves that I obviously will state time and time again, the human eye blinks in about 0.2 of a second. So that's 0.2 compared to some of these times that you're seeing. You blink and you will miss an eternity here at Spa. And here we have it now. It's going to be the grid rundown. It starts off as a rolling start. We are going to be doing the full outlap here, beginning down the Eau Rouge Radion complex. That will be the first few corners. We do skip the first corner, the La Source hairpin, which will avoid some carnage for some people, but potentially is going to be some danger on the runs. But as we have it, why don't we get on in here and meet our drivers? Starting off here up at the top and in pole position, it is going to be Matt Melanson, the number 33 Crazy Rabbits Racing AMG. Lined up on the front row alongside is going to be Mike Wenzel in the McLaren, the 619 American driver up at the front with Mr. Roo from Down Under, seeing if he can climb his way to the top in the BMW M4, the number 205. Charles Wimbley behind him in the number 5 machine, also this BMW with Kyle Heslin company for him in 5th. Andrew Harkin's going to be 6th quickest here tonight with Reggie King behind him in the 111 for P7. Philip Lee, we saw at the end there smashing the qualifying times and putting in a P8 result for the 505. For the Irishman, Chase Donnelly behind him in the Dream Team AMG, the 257, coming home in 9th. And also Morko Yatanashi here rounding out our top 10. A lovely qualifying result there for the Aston Martin driver, and seems like they've been putting the practice in alongside Jaeger Karu, the Janetta, the number 20 machine there with Tanner Masters company in the Code 3 Motorsports. Seth Lincoln, 13th fastest in company there for Tanner in the 101 with Noah Johnson in 14th. Derek Santiago, 15th fastest with Willie Owens in 16th for the 888, the Grand Theft Auto 6 inspired livery. A nice one to the cards here with Carson Kass behind in the blind spot KTM. Drew Freiberger, 18th quickest in the Red Hat Racing, with the 19th belonging here to Michael Mack. Skylar Smith rounding out your top 20. Mike Fisher, 21st in the Code Red, the number 23 with Anil Arel, a Turkish driver in the KTM as well. We got 2 KTMs on the grid here tonight, and a Aston Martin company there. That's going to be Idriel Olivaria in 23rd with Rally Dutchy in 24th. Friedrich Velez in 25th here, the 787. I think a new driver here to the Rookie League with Johan Perez in P26. George Jarvis, 27th quickest with Harrison Waldis alongside him in 28th. Dr. Porkchop, 29th quickest with Carlos Padron in P30. John Wad, 31st quickest with Luis Perez in the 414, the Liefert Motorsport AMG with Jeff Franks, the Lovewinds Racing Company there in 33. Spady Bud in 34th position. And last but not least on the grid is going to be the Zacatl of Omar Perez.
Wow, we have seen some amazing liveries here today as Perez just warps off to the pit. Must have not hit the go start button there, or may have had a menu open, as that sometime the queue sends some of the drivers back to the pit lane without them noticing. But some of the liveries I think I love the most, and I won't pick favorites, but I will. Sorry. I think it's going to be Carson Kass. Carson Kass's livery, that dirty dog livery that he's got, that he claims to be ugly as heck, is actually one of my favorites. And then I think Spady Bud also had an amazing looking livery. And then Love Always Wins. That's always a great one, especially this time of the year, this time of month. Great message to be sending to everybody.
Absolutely. Carson's livery there in the blind spot. KTM on the outlap now, and every single time. Now that I've been into iRacing, I can't stop when we see people drive into each other. But it's all good. There's no contact on the outlap here. We can also take a look here at the back of the grid. Spady Bud, who does have a smashing livery in that Camaro. The Cherry Blossom made by Neil Kerbel, if I'm not mistaken there. And the Mad Fox plastered on the front. And the beautiful Trackalicious logo on the back. And the purple
Stars
rims. Look at those rims. Those complement so much.
Gorgeous, really gorgeous. I love the cherry blossoms. I'm a sucker for the galaxy themes as always. But then the Trackalicious banner on the back wing that you just described too is just a nice touch at the end of the day. Really classy. And again, not to pick favorites, every single driver that has done their hard work or hired someone to do the hard work for them to make a livery, kudos to you all, because this series wouldn't be as special without being able to have a little bit of personality attached to your cars.
Absolutely, and it adds quite a lot. And let me just explain, since we got a little bit of time here, on why these drivers started in the pit lane, because there is a reason behind it, actually. They didn't forget to hit drive. They actually received a penalty from the previous race. So that is how we do penalties here, is if you do end up getting in a collision that was deemed worthy enough, and the stewards, rather than giving you a grid place penalty or something along those lines, or time penalty, or just a slap on the wrist, no, we give you a quali ban, which means that you cannot qualify, and you will be starting in pit lane if you've committed too much of a naughty. So don't get into collisions, folks. That's my biggest recommendation for how to not start in pit lane.
Oh man, that is a good penalty system to have, because that definitely will make the drivers that have caused those collisions pay the price. Not being able to qualify, starting at the back of the grid, starting slower than the rest of the grid on coldest tires possible is super punishing. So hopefully the drivers will stay nice and clean throughout this event that we have going here, and 2 races as well. So if things aren't looking great for you right now, there's always the second race where things can go better. So just keep your chin up and keep a positive attitude and drive on forward. Rubber side down as always.
Absolutely. And a good question there, Vet, in chat, is what are some of the incidents from? I haven't necessarily checked, but if you are curious, you can head on over to the Trackalicious Discord, over to the GT4 Rookies channel, and see a list of all of the penalties with the exclamation mark penalties command, I'm pretty sure, and find out exactly what they did and why they have been sent to the Shadow Realm for presumably sending somebody else to the Shadow Realm. Also love in chat there being sent for the likes of Derek Santiago, also Mr. Harkins. Let's see, where is Harkins at currently? Sitting in... I just saw it, didn't I? I swear I did. Anyways. So Andrew Harkins is in P6. There we go. I knew I saw it. Andrew Harkins up in 6th position here. Looking strong for the AMG. A decent amount of manufacturers on the grid. You love to see the variety. Not just going to be an Alpine showdown as it was in the past. The recent BOP changes, which we are, I think, just using, yep, the in-game BOP here tonight, is going to be balancing these cars out fairly well. But as we have it, it is going to be 2x2 Noah's Ark formation for the drivers here coming down the start-finish straight. It is not going to go green just yet. Don't get your hopes up too much, chat. We got one more corner to go before we end up green here. It is a rolling start formation for these drivers. No standing start for the GT3s. And that will allow them to continue on down to the red water corner. There's Eau Rouge, and of course up the hill through Radion, and then onto the Kemmel Straight, where the real melee will begin, and hopefully no car parks. We saw that in the 24-hour of Spa in the previous one. There was a massive car park on the straight at the beginning. Let's hope for no incidents there as the drivers now round the final corner. 2x2 Noah's Ark formation, getting ready to go green here tonight. We have Matt Melanson on pole position with Mike Wenzel in second. I'm Mike Nause in the booth. Joined with me tonight is Saagar Bakshi as we get ready to go green. Approaching the line now in the calm before the storm, and we go green, 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 and it's going to be a pretty dead even heat now down to Eau Rouge Radion, but the back two bumping and banging already. Everybody's somehow gaining control of their cars once more, but they're going to get an absolutely abysmal exit now, pretty much bottlenecking everybody up. We see some cars cutting the track there through Radion, but no harm, no foul. It seems that we're mostly green so far. Mike Wenzel getting that slipstream in a good run now down to Matt Melanson as those two have gapped the rest of the field with the incident between Charles Wimbley and Mr. Roux. No incidents happening here. Mr. Roux going for it now down the inside, is going to get it done into the Lacombe chicane. That's going to be off for Reggie King into the barrier. No, that's Andrew Harkins off sideways, and Philip Lee making up ground as well. Reggie King, he is feeling the pressure.
That move on the start for Roux and Wimbley was awfully scary going up the hill there. I thought that was going to end in absolute death and carnage, not only for them, but the field behind. Experts making that work, and a little bit of bumping and grinding. I don't see nothing wrong with that.
A little bit of rubbing is racing, and I, again, don't know how everyone managed to stay in control of their vehicles. Well, we're having a few lose it. Mike Fisher has dropped some positions as well. Seth Lincoln here trying to find what he can. Into Puan, though, the opportunities are certainly going to be low, except for somebody there taking a little bit of an adventurous line. I'm not sure who that was. It looks like that was Carson Kass in the KTM going for a bit deep there. Maybe not quite all the tires into the, or heat into the tires just yet. That is a lovely train that we're seeing the AMG deep onto the inside. So far, though, not finding it. Michael Mack here going for it into the Fangnas, but is a bit too far behind. Drew Freiberger, though, looking for an opportunity. Gets slammed into the back, though, by Michael Mack. And that Michael is going to be yielding after that. He certainly feels bad. And, well, unfortunately, I think that might be an example of what happens when drivers get a pit start penalty. And that is how they happen.
Yeah, an unfortunate accident there, but overall, gentlemanly driving to take place there to wait up, as you said, just kind of waiting up to hold back. It feels a little guilty about the situation, but hopefully the stewards look kindly upon that type of action.
Lap 1 incidents the stewards don't look kindly on. I hate to break it to you. Lap 2, it's pretty much all out, but lap 1, it's pretty harsh in terms of it. Moriko Yatanashi here trying to make up any ground, but hasn't really gone anywhere just yet. Still in P10. Looking to the inside, though, of the first hairpin. This should be fairly signed, sealed, and delivered. It looks like he's going to go a little deep, though. Is going to cover the switch back. No, not quite. Allowing Chase Donnelly a potential run down the Eau Rouge Radeon complex. Now, they are going to go side by side, but somebody is going to have to give, as it looks like it's going to be Chase Donnelly who is going to be further behind.
It looks like the 278 had a big moment there at Blanchimont. Waited a long time before getting the wheels spinning again, way back at the back of the field now. Almost half a lap down from the leaders even.
One of the drivers here I also want to mention, Spady Budd, up a few positions from where they started. Started in 34th, up 7 positions so far. Blue X, thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated. And Spady Budd here looking for any sort of moves onto Omar Perez ahead. Also, Carlos Padron going for a move to Johan Perez into the Lecombe chicane. Not finding any opportunity. Also, Roro the Beloved, thank you for the follow as well.
Great to see the support here at the Tracklicious group. Everybody still not fully following or subscribed, better go ahead and click that bell. Gotta love all the events that have been put on. And as I said before, if you're not familiar with the Tracklicious crew, make sure to go to the SimGrid.com and check out all the events that they have going for them. A ton of them are available that should fit any time zone that you're available for. And primarily focusing on North American groups, it can't get much better than this, to be honest with you. You're always going to be able to talk to people, to be able to communicate what's going on, what's going good, what's not going well, as we see this deep battle going on for 21, 22, and 23 on the inside. Makes a look, but can't act on it. Now he does act on it side by side. Here we go through the chicane of Lecombe. No, excuse me, this is Fanges, and then now we're headed to Campus. Around the outside, can't defend, loses another place now, and then Dutchy looks like he's going through on Perez.
Johan falling backwards and plummeting down the ranks right now. Rally Dutchy now back under threat, though, immediately from Johan. He's going for it down towards the final bus stop. He actually gets by well beforehand. Interesting, the Porsche, typically not one to out-drag race the Camaro. It seems that Rally Dutchy is having some issues with some straight line speed. I wonder if they're on the proper engine map, as Luis Perez has hawked down onto the back bumper relatively quickly, and laid onto the brakes goes Rally Dutchy, and a light tap onto the Porsche sends the Porsche to the inside of the KTM. We have a big bottleneck right now. It's going to get unleashed at the front, and it looks like Johan Perez has somehow managed to make his way ahead.
What a kiss on the tuchus there from Dutchy into Perez. I didn't think that was going to work out well, but it turned out better than we could expect, because Perez actually ended up getting that position back, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, yeah, Perez actually getting that position back past Urel. And man, that worked out safer and smoothly more than we would have expected, and helped that Porsche out quite a bit there in the braking zone. That Camaro is really wounded. You're absolutely right. It should have more straight line speed than what it's showing, and it's losing out to a lot of the other cars around it. I wonder if it's either got damage, or you're right, it's just on the wrong map.
We're about to find out here what's about to happen, as this is a dangerous one, and wow, somehow Omar Perez gets by. That's a slip and slide from NLRL, getting knocked down as Rally Dutchy also getting caught up into that incident. It's just a battle of mistakes right now, and who can make the most. Oh, I'm on the absolute edge of my seat right now for these back drivers in towards the middle pack. Honestly, there's a battle up at front, but this is where the real entertainment is here. This is, of course, the rookie battle of the year, I would imagine.
Oh man, Dutchy's brakes not working for him twice in 2 corners. That's really not the mistakes we want to see. But hopefully these drivers are able to keep on driving straight. As you talked about tire wear, those big spins, those big slides will impact the available grip that the drivers have to them. And if you flat spot them, you get those chattering teeth marks pretty quickly.
A very interesting line from Spady Bud into Pooh on a double downshift there, and you can hear those revs riding awfully high for the Camaro. Now, I'm not, saying that there's necessarily an issue here, but we have seen this very large 6.2 liter V8 explode in the past, and it's moves like that are going to make it happen. RL also really struggling with the KTM, it seems, as we go through the Fangnas and into the Stavolos. It is going to be fairly easily said and done as Spady Bud moves up 9 positions from where they started, and looks like they want to continue that on. Also, Rally Dutchy starting off where they were. Omar Perez up 12 positions as our biggest gainer here tonight.
Man, what a great battle in the backfield. Regardless of where it is, the battles have been really close this race. And man, we still have 12 minutes left to go. You'd think we were down to the last lap or something like that, but these drivers staying really close side-by-side action here, coming down the front stretch and almost pinching him down to the racing line. Contact is made at La Source, and it looks like Freilberger goes through and defends that position pretty well, going down into Arouge.
Well,
the Red River, is that what we're calling it now?
I would just call it Arouge. But we have some aggressive rookies out here tonight. Jaeger Karu looking to make that dream become a reality as well. The little Ginetta that could, trying to drag race an Aston Martin Vantage now to the inside for the first part of the Lecom. It'll turn to the out, but back to the in for the final part. There's a stranded car of Tanner Masters off to the side as well, having a nice little picnic here on a spa afternoon. Not quite what they're looking for, but we can maybe go back. We won't check the replay. We're going to stay with this battle for right now as we go into Brussel's outside line being taken for Jaeger Karu. We'll have the inside for No Name if they can stick far enough alongside, but onto the dirty line, and the marbles are going to cancel out all that momentum.
Wow, Karu and Yatanashi doing a great job of negotiating through the Kemmel Straight and then through Lacombe's together. It takes some compliance between the two drivers to make that side-by-side work, and they really did a good job, especially with the car that was often into the grass. Never lost focus, never lost their concentration. They just kept on driving forward, and that little Ginetta that could is trying to challenge back on this Aston as much as possible, and I didn't think that the Ginetta would have the legs to do so, but sure is trying.
No, but it has the downforce, it seems, through those slower speed sectors into the Fangnas, and especially here in Sector 3. Did Karu just drive down the green line? A little bit of a Formula 1 line. Yeah, it's definitely not quite what I would call optimal, but it certainly will get the job done. Karu here seeing any form of opportunity they can, and it's going to be another drag race as they go alongside now, and it's already done and dusted before we reach Blanchimont, which is extremely surprising. This Ginetta must be running actually a fairly cut setup when it comes to downforce.
Whoa, what a big send over that curb. I thought that Aston was done for two-wheeling it. Think that was going to be a server mess up there with how far that Aston, was turned over onto its side, but collected it pretty well there. I wish we could see the onboard of what that driver was going through. It's definitely a Code Brown moment in my hands.
It's most certainly, or in your pants, but either way, neither here nor there. I had to stumble on that one. Also, in case you guys are curious, chat, we do have our ads turned on the absolute minimum that we can here at TRACKILICIOUS, and if you are tired of seeing some of these ads, if you do have Twitch Prime, you can use your Prime sub here, and it will get you no more ads here at TRACKILICIOUS, or you can just subscribe in general, and that'll give you free of ads. Also, Twitch Turbo is another service that will allow that, but if you do have Amazon Prime, anyone with Amazon Prime can get one free Prime sub every month, and if they do use that here, well, we thank you guys very much. Oh, Oh my, Willie Owens is off the track there just briefly, using a speed token to his advantage, and gonna be gaining quite a bit now onto Tanner Masters. And Vet, thank you so much for that Prime sub. No more ads for Vet.
Man, I wonder if that was a quote-unquote no time gained section there for that driver. And a couple more follows coming through. Selly on the tally. Thank you very much for the follow. Love the support you guys give. Tracklicious is an amazing group of people, and the community is absolutely phenomenal. If you're not joining up on Discord and finding a nice race to get into, you better get involved, as this 2x2 is not In-N-Out Burger. This is gonna be a racetrack incident, 2x3, as we go through No Name and Speakers. Holy Toledo! Carson Crass is getting a little argy-bargy action. Oh no! And in the background, there's another fatal accident. I think that might have been Padron who's there, turned around the wrong way. Holy smokes, he's doing a great job of holding the brakes, but he's gonna have to wait till the entire field comes through and he gets clipped, and there's more calamity up ahead. What's going on with Frelberger and Carson Cass? Holy smokes.
Oh, we gotta go back and check a replay of that one. So we're back 20 seconds here into the corner. Carson Cass loses the back end, and the AMG drives straight into him, and the 71 gets collected. They come out side by side. That's Omar Perez getting by the scene of a crime here. But wow, this is what you call a knife fight in a phone booth. Also, thank you guys so much. Zach Miller for the Prime sub as well. Steven Tomazic gifting a sub to Potts. 25 gifted subs. My goodness, Steven, absolute legend. Thank you so much for everything that you do here at Trackalicious. You are absolutely awesome. Wow, what a about 5 seconds, 10 to 20 seconds of racing that just happened. That was absolutely incredible. My goodness.
Entire race worth of action in just one corner, and here we go again.
And we have another race after this, keep that in mind, and all of these drivers are going to be starting in the position that they finish. So you see these drivers that are currently in a war with each other, that's not going to end come the next race. This is only going to get more and more aggressive, especially as we head into the next one. In fact, I haven't even checked in with our top runners yet. We have a battle for P2 right now. It's a three-way fight with Charles Wimbley, Mr. Rue, and Mike Wenzel. Matt Melanson sort of checked out up at the front. 4 seconds is the gap as these three leave each other here for the dead, basically. And Curtis, thank you so much, everybody, for the Prime subs. Absolute legends. And thank you guys for your support here at Trackalicious. It really means a lot as we continue to make bigger and better leagues and more content for you guys. And as of recent, we've been posting more on Instagram with shorts and onto YouTube as well. So if you guys check us out over there, you will find some entertaining content. If you want to see me in a dinosaur suit from a while back, that'll be an opportunity. Mr. Rue seeing if he can find a little bit of an opportunity into poo on there, but doesn't see any opportunities arising.
And I must say, too, regarding the gifted subs, how much impact that means as far as growing the viewer base. It's so great to have that in the community as well, because it gives an opportunity for people that wouldn't otherwise be here continuously, the opportunity to keep wanting to be here. And hopefully they'll eventually purchase their own subscription or join the Discord and start racing. So thank you so much, Mr. Potts. Appreciate all the love and support. For me, at least, that means the most when people are willing to give out of their own pocket to other people. So absolutely phenomenal work. 25, if I heard correctly.
Yeah,
you are
Mr.
the best.
Steven. Mr.
Steven. Thank you very much, Mr. Steven.
Had the chance to meet Potts Weaver in real life not too long ago. Big shout out to him.
Did he have a pocket full of subs?
You know, I can't say that he did, but we did go to an arcade and he was quicker than me at NASCAR, so I can't deny that fact. He did beat me.
Oh, that's sweet, man. And this is the type of community that you want to get involved with, a community that actually meets up in real life, hangs out, kind of clicks together. As my boy Carson Cass is off into the dirt, where are we? Looks like we're here after Fangies and towards
I'll save
campus.
Him the pain. I won't show the replay.
I'm sorry. Commentator's curse right from the onset, it seems like. I made one comment about him. I didn't know I had the power.
Man, Spady Bud. This is one of those sort of sleeper drivers, or rather sleeper drives at the moment here. He's been up 7 positions, now looking to make it an 8th as he goes around the outside, or at least attempts to on the Valvoline KTM. Doesn't find an opportunity. And yes, as Pot says, all clean racing. Yes, it was very clean racing, definitely. As we've seen tonight, it's been some very, very clean racing, definitely. Nidus, thank you. Nidus0, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Definitely am not saying that correctly, but we appreciate you nonetheless. And Spady Bud, well, he gets by without too much of an issue there as the KTM crossbow is left without a response.
Yeah, good job from Spady Bud. I've seen him race in the GT3 League before. He's a decent driver. Really knows his brake markers really well also. So I'm surprised he... Whoa! Heads up driving from Mr. Buds as Frelsberger was almost stopped 100% there at the final chicane. And I don't know what was going on with him, but this is going to throw him into the grasp of Earl behind as Earl's going to make a look on the inside of LaSource. And can he get it planted? He does, but he's going to go super deep and out into the runoff. And that won't work in today's world as there's gravel out there. And that's going to slow him down and throw him back that position for Mr. Bud.
This is like watching somebody try to push two polar ends of a magnet together. You're just not going to get it. Like, it's these rookies, I'm not sure what's going on here, but it is, it's very dangerous. Curtis has redeemed an on-screen collaboration. What does that mean? What does that mean? Curtis, what have you redeemed? I'm not even sure. Notice, looking forward to your first Trackalicious race here tonight. Let's go. Looking forward to having you out there. What's your name in game? Love to see it.
Nice, yeah.
Emoji
Let's hear your name. That way we can give you the commentary's curse as well, just like we gave to Carson. That'd be lovely for your first race. I'm sorry.
And unfortunately, Sword and Keyboard not having the luckiest race here tonight. Well, there's always race 2 at least. That's the benefit of the rookies. And we do wish you best of luck in the next one. And starting in the back is never a bad thing in these races. We saw Spady Bud. He started in the very, very back, and he has made up a lot of ground since and continues to. As, again, yeah, just one of those drivers that's been putting the work in. And again, we talk about, for example, Mr. Rue, who's in a fight of his life right now as Charles Wimbley actually overtakes Mike Wenzel, which we just cut to. But Mr. Rue putting in all of the practice before this, and it is really working for him now. You can see the effort pays off. And this is how these drivers go from rookie to open and how they go from rookies to the different leagues as you practice, practice, and practice. Because if you don't put the laps in, you're never going to learn how to drive. And Mr. Rue putting in hundreds of miles, literally 500 plus miles of practice in this server alone, and that is going to be what the key is to getting you into the big leagues if you want to make it far. Mr. Rue has a great mentality, and it's that work hard, play hard ethic, and well, trying to get the job and the business done. Also, we have a level 1 train of emotes. Let's go, Twitch.
Choo choo choo. Oh, thank you guys so much.
Level 224. Somebody gave 40 bits.
You guys are awesome.
Who gave 40 bits and why wasn't there notification? Curtis giving a 40. Okay, so that's what that was. It was 40 bits that you got. Thank you for the 40 bits. I don't know why it didn't send the notification up. I just changed notifications recently, so it doesn't surprise me that things broke. You gotta love to see it.
And one thing I will say, you mentioned all the practice. You know, hot lapping is one thing, but this practice here in a packed grid with 30 drivers basically racing within tenths of each other, that's where you'll gain the skill and the tact offline from each other, online with each other, just side by side going where you shouldn't, and that's where you're really going to improve a lot, and it's great to see that.
And
Potts just got more subs?
I'm not sure. I'm still not. Twitch is being Twitch. This is like an emote hype train. I'm not fully sure. Uh-oh, what has happened? No way, you just have Carson pit lane, and George Jarvis is off. Everything is happening at once here, and I have no idea what is going on, but all I know is Andrew Harkins is going for a move onto Carlos Padron, and that is a very big you hate to see it, and you certainly do when it comes to the likes of Drew saying that they, unfortunately were disqualified for upshifting in pit lane. Well, that is one of those things that you learn once, and you will probably never do again, at least I hope, although I say that, and I would be lying if I said I haven't made that mistake more than once. Side by side as they continue on here, though, Andrew Harkins looking to finally secure the move onto Patron through No Name. It's going to continue on the battle here, but somebody is going to have to yield come Puan, or will they? There might be a little bumping and banging, but I think Carlos finally has to capitulate. He's going to be on that dirty line, and he is going to be losing the momentum.
And nose to tail right now. This battle might not be over. after this chicane. Oh my goodness, these drivers are absolutely relentless. Like you said, the battles won't stop here. After this race, we've got one more going for them, so we'll see this end now, but just pick right back up in a few moments time. This is going to be amazing to watch. More side-by-side action from the leaders now. Rue and Wembley, it looks like.
Mr. Rue is under threat as it's BMW on BMW violence here, and it looks like Mr. Rue is going to get forced wide. He'll be able to carry more momentum, though, into Bruxelles, but he has to get late onto the brakes. He does so, but now onto the dirty line. He has to have full confidence, so careful onto the throttle as he dances the car around and into No Name. It'll be another advantage, but these cars side by side for multiple corners. This is what makes or breaks these drivers here as they go on. The pressure is high, and Mr. Rue has a slight mistake out of No Name, which costs him the position. Charles Wembley moves up into second on the final lap.
Amazing tact from these drivers, negotiating that again side by side everywhere. Round the outside of Bruxelles wasn't going to be the easiest way to make that happen or get the run down to No Name, aka Speaker's Corner, but just trying to do their best down to Puan, and just gosh, gotta give credit where credit's due. These drivers and their tact, their racecraft is on par, almost off into the gravel. There might be some more side-by-side action for the end of this race.
Certainly is not off the cards. Our race leader is about 6.5 seconds up the road, so not going to be too much of a concern. A flash of the headlights from Mr. Rue. He's trying to zig while the Wembley is trying to zag, but what is going to be the final decision? A tap of the brakes as both of them go through the Blanchimont and now into the bus stop. The final opportunity for Mr. Rue. He checks the outside line. It'll turn to the inside for the second part. The switchback attempt. The BMW of Charles Wembley is deep. It's going to be the exit now, down to it, bumping and banging as they get ready to accelerate now across the line, and Mr. Rue takes it.
To the line. Oh my goodness, what a switchback and a drag to the line. That was the phenomenal ending to the race for battle for the podium. Holy Toledos are out. Whoa. You couldn't have called that better, Mike.
That was amazing. Mr. Rue is 0. Wait, did Charles Wembley finish ahead? Hold on. My timing charts are saying otherwise to what I saw there, but we'll be seeing here if Omar Perez can find any form of opportunity. Hold that thought, though, Chaz. I think, actually, Charles Wembley somehow got that. We'll check the replay. We'll check the replay, honestly. That was absolutely incredible. Charles Wembley almost had it. We know, but Charles Wembley saying he didn't have it. I am seeing something different, Charles. I don't know. My timing charts could be wrong, as they often are, and that's going to be Omar Perez. Let's see. Charles Wembley in 5th, it says here, which is not true. Charles Wembley did finish 3rd. Okay, my timing charts are incorrect. That's how close they finished. Literally, my timing charts couldn't even tell the two apart.
That's insane. Next to nil between those two drivers there at the very end. Absolutely great driving from everybody around. And that race end was just so close. We have to take another look at it. Can't wait to see how this ended up.
Let's
good
see
move
it.
Also towards the chicane. Just good heads up driving to understand that that's going to be your best opportunity when you cross that finish line.
Here it is, the side-by-side as they go across the line. Mr. Rue trying to get, or rather, I should say Charles Wembley trying to squeeze him out, but when they reached the line, the gap may have been a little bit more than I think we expected, but still, when he crosses the line here, right, no, not there, that's not the line. Let's see, it wasn't necessarily a photo finish, but you can see right there, it was still a incredible effort for Charles Wembley there to try to fend it off. He had the position at one point, gave it up at the end, though, just from hard fighting, and Mr. Rue, well, all of the practice clearly has paid off. That's what happens when you drive miles and miles. You take alternate lines, and you learn the track, and you learn how to tackle the corners in ways that you otherwise wouldn't necessarily do. We're gonna head back to the booth here as we get ready to head on over to our next session. We're gonna have a little server restart beforehand, as everybody will be coming across the line here. But in the meantime, why don't we get a little bit of beats by Chris Laronde in the background, some Amber Glass, ! Music in chat? Yeah, Laronde, there we go, soundcloud.com/Laronde Alpha if you are interested in checking it out. But
yeah, it may not have been as close as we expected, but damn, after 20 minutes of driving side by side, nose to tail, finally getting it to work out down to just a few tenths is pretty insane.
Yeah, 0.0 separating them, but down to the thousandths of seconds in the margin. And we'll see some people in chat coming in now that we're in the race. Incredible racing, as Coffee Junkie said. He had a blast. You love to see it. Doc Pops thought the race was over and pulled to the side. Oh no. Oh, you hate to see that. That's a terrible way to lose a couple positions. And ran out of gas before Blanchimont did Dr. Porkchop. Oh, it was an utter catastrophe for some folks, but unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate at the end of the day there. Either way, Matt Melanson takes the race win for race 1. Thank you so much, Curtis, for the bits. And I'm still not sure why an emote isn't... Is that how that works? I still need to figure that out. But Curtis, thank you so much. If you are donating bits, I just don't know Twitch well enough, unfortunately. And I need to figure out how to add a little emote or a little thing for what you are donating. So thank you so much for the bits. And Carson, we caught the incidents. We caught it. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately for Carson, we sure did. And you can blame me for the commentator's curse. I'll gladly take some responsibility for that. Responsibility where responsibility is due. As the first thing I said when I got into this race was how much I love Carson's livery, and therefore he is bequeathed with the curse.
Yep, and welcome to the commentator's booth, Saagar, because you have that's sort of your official entry in, I would say, is if once you commentators curse somebody, that's the feeling, you know what I mean?
It's the I've got the power.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you guys so much in chat. By the way, you guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you for the continued support from everybody, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying. There's more to come. We got plenty of racing ahead of us, another 20-minute sprint, as well as the GT4 Open 45 minutes of racing later on tonight. But first, we're going to have a little bit of a delay, of course, before we get into that server, which I think is back up, and a small little practice session before we get into the action. There will be no qualifying. We'll be straight down to the meat and potatoes.
This is going to be super exciting to watch these drivers just really pick up where they left off. Fresh set of tires, fresh set of fuel in their tank. I know it's only 20 minutes, but if we saw anything like what we saw in race 1 happen in race 2, no penalties, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct for race 2? Is that how that works, Mike?
Not from, well, if they did have a penalty from race 2 in the previous week, then they will be having that in this current race, but they will not be applied from the previous session, no.
Copy that. Okay, so we will see a little bit of, some penalties applied during this session, but those drivers know who they're going to be. And yes. I think I saw the actual list of drivers and what they had available. So it's going to be interesting no matter what. I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be really exciting. Race 1, just phenomenal race. And I got to say, if I haven't said it yet, thank you to all the drivers for putting on a show. I wouldn't do this if it wasn't as entertaining as you guys make it seem. So thank you very much for being here, sacrificing your personal time to let us talk about your driving skills or lack of skills in that sense.
No, you're 100% right, though, Saagar. I think that's a great point to bring up, is it takes a lot of confidence to go on a rookie race, in a race that, you know, you're maybe not going to be doing too well. And not confidence, not the right word. It's more, it is confidence. And you rightfully should have that as a driver. It doesn't matter how you do. It's about how you improve and how you learn and how you take from what you do and then, again, improve to the future, which we see time and time again. And again, that's why we have this rookie league, is so you can have the opportunities to sort of dip your toe into that shark-infested water of sim racing, where then you can get on to the develop yourself as a minnow before you finally move on as a bigger fish into the seas, and hopefully you survive, again, that world. But no, I'm making it sound much more intimidating than it is. It's all just for fun at the end of the day, and everybody is here to have a good time, just like us in the booth.
Yeah, and to be vulnerable too, like you said, was so important. These guys know that they're going to be here on stream, on camera, broadcasting their mistakes, and they want to watch this back, right? Everybody wants to watch themselves on TV. Shout out to mom. Hi, mom. You know, and get their families involved. That's why we put on a clean broadcast as well, is because we want families to be involved. We want friends to be involved. We want your buddies who don't even sim race to watch on their big screen TV out in their dorm room. You know, it's great to be exposed to this kind of thing, because as you move through the ranks, you're only to get casted more and more and more often. And everything is a learning experience, right? Whether it's through a penalty system, whether it's through a report, whether it's a stewarding decision, everything should always be taken as a learning experience and never as a personal attack. It's just an opportunity to grow and make more mistakes in the future that aren't the same as what you're doing. You want to just keep on trying different things as you go through the ranks, as you described it, going from that minnow to salmon.
Yep. No, I mean, you're 100% right. I don't think I could have said that better myself. That was a beautiful explanation, to be honest. And yeah, it's just about improving. Again, it's down to just the keeping up the consistency. Somebody that I want to shout out that was a rookie that started off at the bottom of the rookies, and I think they'll admit it. They'll be the first one to tell you that. It was Mr. AV6 Scott, one of the moderators now at TRACKILICIOUS, and a steward as well. He has come such a long way from his consistent streaming schedule. Also, if you watch him on Twitch, because he's an awesome streamer. But yeah, Mr. AV6 Scott Sullivan, he is a very talented driver at this stage, battling in the, I think, Open Championship a little bit later. We might see him, but of course in the GT3s as well. And he's just gone and improved so much over the years, and that's, again, down to the consistency, having that schedule over and over, and having a stream. That's one thing. If you're thinking about developing a stream and wanting to say, oh, maybe I'll just stream my driving, why not? What's the worst that could possibly happen? I agree. Send it. Let people come and join you and develop a nice, fun community like Scott did. And yeah, he's, again, one of those big example drivers in my mind. Started at the bottom of the rookies and has risen to the, maybe not the top of the top just yet, but he's sort of, he's around here. He's hitting in the middle, maybe even to upper middle now. So big hats off there to Mr. Scott Sullivan, and Spady Bud with a full onboard lap for himself. We will be getting into that very shortly here as we have the session up and ready, and the drivers are going to be all lined up as we head on now down to the session. The nice hydration as we get ready for the actual driving.
Absolutely. Got to catch my breath now before we get started off with another round of this amazing race that TRACKILICIOUS is hosting. I would not have expected the grid to be so filled up and so full of action, but the depth of field is really clear here. Everybody has a group of people that they're trying to battle with. You might not think that everybody's going to battle for the front. Sure, there's only one winner per every race, right? But to just be able to have a good race, a clean race, a participation race is a big win in my book. I don't care if I'm battling for 15th or if in dead last place. I just want to have a good race that's clean with the guy next to me, guy, gal, there, them, right? But if you can get that, I feel like that's a win no matter what. And you've been seeing that all throughout race 1, and I'm sure race 2 will deliver.
Absolutely. That is what we are all here for at the end of the day as racers and even as spectators, is what we want to see. Who was on pole position in race 1? Well, I tell you what, why don't we get down and meet him as he is starting off in pole position once again. Absolutely ran away with last race. It is Mr. Matt Melanson starting us off at the top here in the Crazy Rabbits Racing number 33. Behind him, it's going to be Mr. Rue. We saw the melee fight all the way down to the very end, and Charles Wimbley, the fellow competitor there, is going to be trying to nip at the heels of Mr. Rue once more, starting off here in third. Reggie King, fourth quickest in the number 111, with Kyle Heslin behind him in P5. Mike Wenzel coming home in sixth position tonight, with Chase Donnelly behind him in seventh. Jaeger Karu bringing home an eighth for the Janetta. Moriko Yatanashi, as I combine the two names in a row, is going to be coming home in ninth position, with Noah Johnson in P10 or 11, as Philip Lee has, there we go, disappeared and reappeared. Philip Lee in 10th position with Noah Johnson in P11. Omar Perez going to be 12th fastest with Idriel Olivaria in P13. Luis Perez 14th fastest with Johan Perez in P15. Carson Kass going to be 16th quickest with Michael Mack in 17th. Spady Bud coming home in 18th in the previous race with Rally Dutchy Company in P19. Andrew Harkins, who is saying that they are in P20, or Carlos saying they're in P20. The race finish, or how you finished in the previous race, should be where you started. But here we have Andrew Harkins, who finished in 20th, starting off in 20th. Carlos Padron in 22nd with Ariel in P23, or the pit lane. Mike Fisher 24th with Friedrich Velez in P25. Harrison Waldis away in the in P26 in the number 26. Some say that's fate. We will certainly find out. Dr. Porkchop 27th for the number 71. Derek Santiago 28th quickest for the number 34 with Jeff Franks in P30. 29 in the number 73 Love Wins Racing, with Willie Owens rounding out our top 30 in the Alpine GTA 6. Skylar Smith in P31 with John Watt in 32nd, Seth Lincoln in 33rd, George Jarvis 34th in 278, and rounding out the back is going to be the number 419 in the Red Hat Racing of Drew Freiberger for that AMG GT4. The grid is set here. We have our outlap underway, beginning before we hit the start of race 2. Seems some drivers have maybe overfueled their cars and hopefully have an underfueled. That's going to be the more important one. And we are now going to be ready for the race.
Ooh, 120 liters for a 20-minute race. That'll make your car feel a little bit more sluggish than most. And talking about penalties and people that are going to be starting for the pit lane, I'll give you the rundown very briefly from last week. It was the number 25, the 420, the 25, the 92, the 92, the 95, and the 73 will all be starting from the pit lane for race 2 here. And the quali bands going out for the 420 and the 414.
So John Donnelly joining us. Been a while, John. I'm going to start racing first. I'm assuming cheering on the likes of his brother out on track, Mr. Chase. And Curtis again redeeming the on-screen celebration that I still don't know what that is, but for 40 bits, and we appreciate you so much. Again, Curtis, if you can tell me what that is, I would really love. I honestly don't know what you're redeeming though. I wish I did, and I wish I had a thing set for it, but I don't.
I believe you're supposed to take your tie and wrap it around your head and do a dance. I think that's what that means there.
I think I'll pass.
That's an on-screen celebration if I've ever heard of one. Come on now, Mike.
I guess that's fair.
Do what the people are paying for.
We might address that on a later basis. Blue X has the popcorn ready to go for this race. New Twitch stuff? Okay, thank you, Carson. Also, what are you doing typing? Drive. You got bigger things to worry about, like your 120-liter fuel tank.
Poor Carson. He's just got the full-on commentator's curse. Race 1 and race 2 now. I can't wait to talk to him in a few minutes' time where he's just spiteful towards me for the next 45 minutes. He says he's adding downforce to his car. Oh, Carson.
Hopefully Chase is on the sofas. I don't know why that's so funny to me. Hopefully he's on the softs. Well, I'm assuming he's on the same compound that everyone else is on here in GT Racing. We don't got softs, hards, or mediums. It is all going to be just wets and dries, and if they have that yellow Pirelli stripe next to them, that means that they are going to be on dry tires. If they have no Pirelli stripe, that means they're going to be on wets, which I'm assuming everybody, hopefully, has taken dries, because there is not going to be a spot of rain in this session.
Hopefully everybody has taken the dry tires, as the series shouldn't have that randomized of weather. And man, if Rue and Wembley are going to go at it again, I'm going to be curious right now, because they let Melanson walk away with it last race. And I know they have the pace to keep up if they don't battle each other. So I'm really going to be interested in watching the first 3 and seeing if they work together or if they work against each other as the race is about to get going, Mike.
Absolutely. These drivers lined up 2x2 Noah's Ark formation on the start-finish straight here on this lovely 4.3 mile, 7-kilometer track. And in case you were curious, this AMG GT4, well, the Mercedes, if you were wanted to know how many AMGs this car would be, or how many AMGs it would take to stretch across the track, it would take about 1,475 AMGs to cover the distance of this 4.3 mile circuit. Fun fact there of the start as we get ready to get on into it here. The drivers through the first corner and getting ready to begin their descent as we have it here. It is going to be Matt Melanson on pole position with Mr. Rue alongside. I'm Mike Nause in the booth. Joined with me tonight is going to be Saagar Bakshi as we get ready here to go green for race 2 of the GT4 rookies. More to come tonight. And it's the calm before the storm, and we will go green, 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 and Matt Melanson is immediately under threat as we begin the barreling down the hill. It's up at the front now. Mr. Rue trying to take to the outside, but now it's a familiar sight side by side with Charles Wimbley as they go on to the Kemmel Straight. Everybody behind seemingly under control at the moment. We're 3 wide though, with the likes of the Ginetta bumping and banging as Reggie King and Michael Wenzel are off now, and it seems there might be a little bit of a parking lot. There's some cars behind. Luis Perez makes it through. Lots of cars though now getting collected here on the first lap. It seems like it is going to, oh, and the yellow flags are out. Hold your brakes, folks. That's a lot of damage.
That is a whole lot of damage. Cars got collected just standing still there on the front straight, or excuse me, at the top straight. I was curious. Donnelly looks like he's got a drive-through on the start. Must have been out of position, and that'll be a hefty price to pay, unless that was a penalty applied from a previous incident.
I'm assuming it was out of place, grid position as well, yeah. So he'll have to serve that within the next 3 laps. Derek Santiago, I think, also having to find a victim to that. If you look at the time charts on the left, it is not quite reflective of everything. The timing needs to update and isn't really doing so. But up at the top here, we're watching Kyle Heslin, who's in 3rd position. Charles Wimbley in 2nd. Matt Melanson holds 1st. Mr. Rue, though, falls backwards at the start and looking to make up some ground, but under threat now from the Bic RKR of Reggie King. And Michael Wenzel also going to be hawking down for an opportunity. Idriel Olivaria has gained quite a few positions, but I think our biggest gainer tonight is Seth Lincoln, as he made it through all of the carnage. Started in P30 and gained 15 positions, and it looks like it's going to be a 16th ahead of Mr. Chase.
Wow, 16, 15 positions here on 1 lap alone. Got to be happy with the race you're going to turn out with, even if that's where you held up or that's where you're going to end up. You got to be pleased with that and make no risky maneuvers as he does catch up to the pack in front. And so does our fan favorite. Is that our friend Willie Owens in the GTA 6 car? I think it is, chasing down another Camaro. These Alpines and Porsches have had some pretty long legs to them from what I could tell, chasing down some of the fastest cars in a straight line in GT4 class.
Yeah, I'll be surprised on the Alpine straight line speed, to be completely honest. It has been a bit more than I would have expected here at Spa-Francorchamps, and actually Chase Donnelly in immediately. I would have liked him to see to go the 3 laps, or the 2 laps, before he has to make that mandatory pit. And the exit speed there, you can see not just does the Ginetta, or the Alpine, excuse me, have a good straight line speed, it seems here, it also has a really good corner exit speed. But Harrison Waldis, a little bit of a Sum 41 impression, and he is in too deep.
Wow, and that is a good call to make there. But man, the heads-up driving that takes place to notice that the driver is going to blow it there on the brakes to keep yourself out of trouble. Very, very, very crucial, and good heads-up driving from Owens.
Oh no, Karu in chat. Well, I'm dead. I don't think you were the only one that came to victim, as it looks like our victims on lap 1 were Jaeger Karu, Mike Fisher, Derek Santiago, Omar Perez, Frederick Velez, and Philip Lee, all drivers that are in pit lane right now. And it seems we have one more victim to add to that number, and that's Idriel Olivaria, who was doing so well up until this stage and has unfortunately dropped it in the Lacombe chicane. The battling, though, continues up ahead. Behind that as well as John Watt and Drew Freiberger make contact as I hit my microphone. And sorry, chat, Jeff Franks is going to get by for a free position, but now Skylar Smith involved in this as well.
Oh, no. A little bump in the rump action to give you the hurry up there as they get through Kemmel and out through that chicane. That's not the right way we want to see it done. And these drivers are both going to have those roasted tires, and that hood is impeding the vision of the driver in that Mercedes.
Yeah, that bonnet was already long enough. Now it has a bit of a supercharger to block its vision, or at least it's what it seems. It's certainly not going to translate to the horsepower outage if you were to do that. Up ahead, though, Michael Mack in P11, battling with Dr. Porkchop, who had a very unlucky race 1. Dr. Porkchop, though, 14 positions gained in this session. He was one of the lucky few that made it through the absolute carnage at the start. We also have Spady Budd ahead here, getting a great run onto the BMW of Luis Perez as they head down towards that bus stop chicane. It was used as a bus stop as public roads until about the year 2000. That's where it got its name. And now, obviously, this being a permanent race circuit, not quite the same reality, but it still has it, and used to be a little bit sharper than it currently is. It's a lot more forgiving and narrow now, and Spady Budd sends it to the inside. It'll turn to the out, and who will get the drive is going to be the question, the BMW or the Camaro, and it seems the BMW should be able to hold this position. He actually leaves a bit more room than I would have liked to see, but covering off the middle of the track. and doing a great job there, just slowly moving over. Spady Bud thinks about the inside line. In fact, he thinks very hard about it, going for the move down to the inside, makes it stick. Nicely done. Luis Perez not really fighting that the hardest, I would imagine. He's going to go for the attack immediately in response. Now down Eau Rouge Radion. This is where things can get dangerous. Side by side, somebody has to give, and Luis Perez, he does.
Wow, the Camaro's brakes just holding on very well. Spady Bud knew exactly what he was getting into. I think Perez was caught off guard and didn't think that the Camaro was going to make the apex of La Source really, and try to go for a switchback, and then just getting parked up on it by Bud. Did a great job of keeping his car in control, down and planted, and pulls away handily on Perez.
Most certainly. And behind that, Reggie, or rather ahead of that, I should say, Reggie King hasn't found much daylight as of yet. Now down 2 positions from where he started into 6th and trying to make up ground over Michael Wenzel, who's having a good run thus far. But the real talk of the town, and somebody I haven't mentioned since the start of this race, is Matt Melanson. He is walking away with this one at the current moment, although only 8/10. I shouldn't maybe say that as of yet. Charles Wimbley, who both of these drivers are on invalid laps. Now, I'd be curious if these drivers are pushing that speed token penalty, and oh no, Chase Donnelly just got to stop go 30. His race is over.
Oh, man. And this is your commentary, Curse, because you mentioned his brother, therefore mentioning Donnelly himself. So I think you're going to get blamed for this one, Mike. Hands down.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm used to it. It's all good.
This is an interesting battle at the front. I am curious how Rue fell back to 4th place. Was that there on the start?
Yep.
After Kemmel Straight? Okay.
Yeah, it was after getting kind of that, not hip check, that was in the previous race. The exclamation mark curse doesn't work again. Awesome. Oh, Eric, just give up on it. It's fine. It doesn't matter. It continues to break. We have a curse counter for anyone curious that's up to the hundreds at this stage, but it would be more if it wasn't constantly broken. It just decides to break itself all the time.
Nightbot, do your job, gosh darn it. Please.
Very unfortunate. Michael Wenzel
What do
here.
we pay you for?
What is Michael Wenzel going to do to the outside of Mr. Rue? He's going for the move. Now, is Reggie King going to be finding any sort of opportunity? That is certainly in too deep there for Michael Wenzel. And Reggie King now down the hill on the drag. He's going to want to compromise his entrance now and get a better exit than Michael Wenzel. That's what I would be doing if I was in Reggie's position. So that's maybe why I'm in the commentary booth and not on track.
Rue played that perfectly. Backing up Wenzel into King, forcing him to have to defend, was the best option that he had to slow him down, but it obviously wasn't enough. Coming down the Kemmel Straight, they're side by side, headed towards the comb.
And into the chicane they go. Mr. Rue to the inside. It's going to turn to the out, but back to the in. And again, Mr. Rue hangs on, but for how long as his tires get spun there? And no, there's a tag as Reggie King goes a little bit misjudged there into the chicane, misjudges the speed of Michael Wenzel, and has a light little tap on the back. That's only going to cost Michael a couple seconds, 2 of them, in fact, to Mr. Rue, but Mr. Rue will be smiling as he has a breath of life now to move on.
100% what Mr. Rue needed. Exactly what he was trying to do. Back up the field into each other, force them to fight it out on some alternate lines while he was able to drive cleanly on the optimal line. And now he's going to be able to pull away, hopefully, with some clear air in front of him.
In a battle here between one of the fan favorites, Skylar Smith and Errel. So far, though, Skylar, it seems the pace hasn't quite matched up to the 24 driver ahead, about a second off the pace of the previous lap, and a little bit deep there into the Lacombe chicane. Is going to need to tidy that up if they want a chance of overtaking the car in front. Kyle Heslin, who has gotten by Mr. Rue. I don't know how the heck we have missed that, but Kyle Heslin now is going to be charging down Charles Wimbley with also Reggie King behind Mike Wenzel again.
And this battle for the front again was paying its dividends. If, price of admission is paid for, let's say, the top 5 being this close to each other is a treat. And then seeing this battle between 6 and 5 is also treat. I love that Bic livery, by the way. It reminds me of my childhood dreams or childhood memories of getting those Bic pens and spinning them around your thumb and whatnot.
Oh, yes. We have a pen spinner, chat. We have a fellow pen spinner. My goodness.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a big Bic guy. Balancing them on your thumb, the whole thing. Had to find the right Bic pens. I'm sorry to embarrass myself or date myself there.
You have no idea who you're talking to when it comes to this. I was literally kicked out of a class for spinning my pen, and I wish I was joking.
Me too. I almost failed AP English for the same reason.
Brilliant. It's incredible. We'll have to talk more after all that. But
no.
Michael Mack on the charge here in P12. He did lose a lot of ground there just off of Seth Lincoln. And behind that, I wanted to say that Skyler caught the back bumper. In fact, Arelis caught the back bumper of, it looks like John Watt, and made it by with relative ease. It seems the back rookies here are, well, doing exactly what I was about to say, and that's trading positions left and right, though I don't think Arel is going to yield, and I think that will be another speed token being added to the table.
Oh, for sure. And once you get that speed token taken away, you might as well just keep on driving forward. You've paid the penalty to the man. And I agree, Big Bic Energy is what we're going to have to call Mr. King from now on, as there is a huge incident at the end of Kemmel going into Lacombe, and 4 cars are involved in that. That looks like Mac Attack, Johnson, Lincoln, and Oliveria. And I know I got that pronunciation wrong. I apologize.
Yes. It's okay. Oliveria, let's see what has happened. This is Michael Mack, who is getting into a chicane where there are currently 2 chicanes being planted that weren't there a couple seconds ago. And that certainly is not ideal. Michael Mack really left with nowhere to go. Tries to avoid action. He managed to, I think, minimize the damage to the best of his ability, but there really wasn't much that Michael could have done there. He just kind of had to roll with the punches, and unfortunately it was a light one to the jaw.
It looks like there was almost an oil patch there on the road that everybody was kind of slipping and sliding onto, and then just whoop, 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 sliding away as we see another battle just rage on from that earlier accident. This looks really nice and clean between these 2 drivers coming down Fanges and into campus now, from what I can tell. The 11 chasing down the 101 of Rexy in front, the AO racing car, everybody's fan favorite T-Rex, almost touching some sand there, not touching some grass for the Porsche, was doing well to stay in touch with that Aston in front. And Mr. Lincoln is chasing down Mac, trying to get that Mac Attack going, and I think he's going to have a little bit of a run. We've seen these Porsches have a run of their top speed go really well for them, and it's going to work out side by side through Blanchimont possibly. Or is he going to back out? No, he won't, and there's contact, and he bumps him off to the curb, and I wonder if that's going to be a speed token. But we'll see. 2x2 now going into the final bus stop chicane, and Roxy has gone through. There's 3 wide action in the background. Willie Owens and the Aston with the, oh my goodness, 1 car gets turned around, and we see GTA 6 being a winner with Roxy going forward. Holy smokes, Mike.
Wow, that was a boiling pot, and I think chat watching my reactions there, I think kind of maybe had a little bit of the prediction. I don't want to say I saw that coming, but I definitely sensed something coming, and it involved contact, and well, that was the unfortunate reality of the situation. Play Joe Games, welcome here to Trackalicious, and a hydrate as well from Alex. We'll get a little caffeination into the system, which is all I need. I'm definitely not over caffeinated as it is.
Gladly hydrate at this moment. Thank you so much for that.
Behind that, Omar Perez, who hasn't had quite the lucky race in the I always mess up the pronunciation. Zolcatl Motorsports AMG. Rolls off the tongue very easily. And continuing on there, Frederick Velez really going to be feeling it now. This is a battle towards the back. This is for P29. The attrition rate's been quite high in this race. We started with 40 drivers. We're down to 33. Now that first lap, well, might have been the reason of that, I think. That was quite a few drivers getting collected into the parking lot on the Kemmel Straight. Definitely, if you did miss that, I would highly recommend going back and check. In fact, there's probably a clip of it if I had to guess. I certainly hope so.
I think from the dots I could count in the pit lane after this race started, I think there was at least 8 cars that had returned to garage, as we see a little off, not a little off, excuse me, a big off and turnaround for that Aston of Velez, excuse me, as he gets his car collected and chases down Perez one more time.
Yeah, certainly clambering over the curbs there as he's trying to climb a mountain, basically, and that is going to be a nice little shock to the spine for Frederick Velez. Now, with 5 minutes left, this race has absolutely flown by, my goodness. Still have a little bit of battling on the cards to go. Matt Melanson is not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination up at the front, as Charles Wimbley is going to continue the pressure onto Kyle Heslin from behind. Mr. Rue 7.6 seconds after what was a little bit of an incident with Michael Wenzel also getting caught up in one of his own, and Reggie King behind, well, I think we saw that. Morko Yatanashi, who has been nothing but consistent in this session, has gained 2 positions since the start. Spady Bud up 9 positions into the top 10. If they can manage to keep this one between the mayo and the mustard for the next 4.5 minutes, they're going to be very happy with the result. And Dr. Porkchop also on another recovery drive from P24, gained 15 positions, but that's not the biggest gainer. It's actually Seth Lincoln up 19 positions.
That's crazy. And overall, I think Spady Bud has done a great job of just plucking away his positions one by one, doing a really good job of collecting those points each and every time as they come to him. And he's gone all the way up into 8th place. I think he collected at least 12 going forward in the first race. And now another set of positions that he's gained now. It's been phenomenal to see him just cluck away patiently, with good attention and without incident as far as we could tell.
Yeah, and Seth Lincoln being one of the Trackalicious stewards, well, the stewards are going to have a lot of work cut ahead of them for tonight, so Seth Lincoln, he got a great view of the incident, and we'll have great reporting abilities, I'm sure. No, of course, we review every replay and judge them accordingly from all of our amazing stewards that we have behind the scenes. Big shout out, if you are one of our Trackalicious stewards, you guys make what we do here possible, along with everybody else. Again, absolute legends. Thank you to everyone that's joining us here tonight. I see we got Vadik here. We have as well, again, Joe joining us. Made a new livery, but I think they're showing for next race. Hopefully it was uploaded properly. That'll be obviously the biggest tell. But we will certainly be finding out soon enough, and good luck in your next race as well. If you are interested in joining one of these championships that is either the GT4 Open or the GT4 Rookies, we're currently watching the Rookies, and what does it take to be in the Rookies? Well, it takes you to click that link in chat that heads over to SimGrid, and also if you are a rookie or a seasoned rookie on SimGrid, you will be allowed to join the championship. And we really encourage everybody, any rookies out there, even if you're on a gamepad, to get on into the championship. It's all about learning. It's all about developing that community as well and getting into a very just friendly community. We try our absolute hardest here to be as welcoming to everyone that we can, and I think we do a pretty good job, and I would highly recommend, if this is something you're considering getting into sim racing, definitely checking out.
Absolutely, and hopping in the Discord and having a chat with some of the people that you're racing with is one of the best ways to iron out some of these issues, details, or learning curves that you think you're headed into. You know, you're not alone when you have your own incident or when you have your own mistake. Someone out there has done it before and is more than happy to willing to share their experience with you and let you know how it's done the right way around. And you said earlier, can't believe how much this race has flown by. Well, we've got about another lap left to go. This lap plus one more, if I'm not mistaken. And I can't believe we still have 2 laps left to go with all the action that we've seen since the start of this race.
Yeah, it's been quite incredible. And Reggie King, unfortunately, here has picked up a drive-through penalty. That'll have to send him down the longest pit lane and waste 59 seconds of his time. Carson Kass in a battle as well, now with Luis Perez behind here in P16 as he's trying to get any sort of ground that he can. This will be really the last potential position that Carson can get, and that's going to be a good opportunity as Perez runs wide. Carson going to be smelling blood in the water now as they go down the hill before the ascent up that Eau Rouge Radion complex. And you see Carson compromising his line, and as I say that nothing's going to change, Matt Melanson has crashed. Our race leader has had some form of incident. Let's go back and see what happened. So that's a back marker right there in an Aston Martin. I'm not sure who that is. The 33 there running wide and just kind of gets distracted. There's no real incident. Oh my goodness. As Charles Wimbley is going to be thoroughly testing the structural fortitude of his racing trousers. That was a close one. And Matt Melanson also getting just by barely with survival, but that is going to put the BMW here into the lead. Matt Melanson, who we thought was invincible, the 333, now in third.
What a tank slapper for the 33. Melanson just having that huge moment, got onto the curb, slip and slide of the tires, gave him the tank slapper, and it's almost like the number 5 of Wimbley helped him recover that car and kept on driving straight in a line, otherwise would have ended up in the barrier with more significant damage. But Wimbley doing a good job of staying forward. And then Heisland now in second place, the number 69, and Mr. Rue is in the 205 in 4th place, still getting chased down by Wenzel, but a big gap separating the two of them.
Oh my goodness, they finished the race.
And the race is over.
Charles Wimbley just hits the line at 0 seconds. He is going to be just breathing a sigh of relief right there because he did not want to go one more lap with Kyle Heslin right on his fender. Matt Melanson going to unfortunately have to settle for a disappointing 3rd. Mr. Rue, I think, also in 4th here. Shouldn't be too disappointed, but at the end of the day, I think they will be. It was a great result nonetheless, especially with the practice they put in, and it's only up from there. Reggie King does end up with an 80-second penalty after not taking a trip down pit lane. Mike Wenzel in 5th position, Reggie King in 6th, which will not be true. Moriko Yatanashi will take 6th. Spady Bud will take 7th. Dr. Porkchop will take 8th. Noah Johnson will take 9th. And Seth Lincoln will round out our top 10.
What an amazing battle. What amazing series that we've seen so far, or event, I should say. We've had Perez battle with Dutchinson Crew and Yatsusashi. Excuse me, I'm getting all the names wrong. Donnelly with his drive-through at the start. We had the 278 go off again, Bud and Perez, and then Rue and Wenzel. I mean, the battles were endless from start to finish, and then to see that the clock just got down to the timer, I'm almost positive that had they not had that incident at No Name or at Speaker's Corner, they would have beat the timing line and then had an extra +1, but no, not yet.
You're 100% right. Oh, that would have added so much of a different story to this, but what a tale at the end of the day, and it is going to be the a simple result for what wasn't a simple race tonight. It was an absolute barnstormer, and, well, there's more to come again. We have a 45-minute race of the GT4 Open ahead of us, so chat, do not go anywhere. We also have a couple hydrates. We'll hydrate up and take a deep breath as well. I know I forgot to add that one. I didn't forget to add it. I need an emoji for it. I was trying to find one and I couldn't find a good one, but I will be adding that soon. We also have V joining us. Heard me on SRO. That was awesome. Thank you so much, V. I had an absolute blast in the night shift with SRO alongside Jesse Lee. Absolute commentary legend, and it was a really good time, I gotta say. We had all the fun facts in the world to run us through the stint, and one bigly redeeming the weird flex, but okay, that is the newest addition that I have had. It does absolutely nothing but show off that you have a lot of points, and yep, congratulations. A lot of people have a lot of points. I should have made it 100,000, to be honest. I'll up it. I'm gonna up the price of that one. 60,000 isn't enough for the weird flex, but yeah, weird flex, but okay.
From last to 8th for Spady Bud, that's how much work he put in from race 1 to race 2. What an amazing showing from him. Really happy to see him do so well. Just run that consistent race over and over and over again, taking it one step at a time.
Spady, I'm sorry I didn't do your onboard lap. I forgot. I know you redeemed it for yourself, and I forgot. That was, that's my bad. Sorry about that. I do not watch the... Oh, Carson, watching the stream while you're racing is always a interesting, I do not watch, what do you mean, Carson? I don't even know what you're saying. Anyways, in there in the open as well, so Spady Bud going to be having another chance for it tonight. I do not watch stream. What are you, Carson, what are you on about?
Well, he's saying that he doesn't watch the streams because he's a streamer. He just streams them, so he's living them through his body. You know?
Yes,
I
through
think
his
that's what
body
he
and
means.
his mind. I see.
Yes. He is one with the stream.
We'll be seeing Carson a little bit later on tonight as he's getting everything set up at the moment, and he will be joining us and taking the place that is going to be of Saagar Bakshi, which, Saagar, I got to say, it's been an absolute pleasure to be in the booth alongside you, and what a race that we've had the ability to share tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me on board. I really appreciate it. This has been a very entertaining evening, and I can't thank you enough, guys, for the opportunity and putting on a wonderful show for us, to all the drivers. Great job out there, everybody.
Absolutely. And if we do want some driver interviews, we are looking for the likes of Charles Wimbley as well as Kyle Heslin and Matt Melanson. If you guys want to head on into the green room, we can get some interviews for you. But until then, I can't really do any interviews because there's nobody to interview. So if you are in chat, get on in there if you want to be talked to. Oh, we got Matt Melanson. Here we go. Coming on down, as it was going to be the P3 finish from Matt. Why don't we pull him on in here? Matt Melanson, do we have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Matt Melanson, a P1 finish tonight, which was very good at the very beginning. But what happened in the second race there that ended up costing you that P3? We saw the mistake start and with the little bit of action, I would say. And I don't know, why don't you just describe it from your position, especially towards the end?
Yep. I saw the back markers coming up on my track map and got a little spooked on the rejoin. Kind of tried to go around them, gave it too much steering angle, and spun out.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we did catch that one on stream, and it was very, very unlucky and almost took out Charles Wimbley just by the skin of your teeth. I don't know how you didn't. But overall, I mean, it's still not a result to be disappointed with, right? I think you showed that you had the pace to take the race win without a doubt. It was just at the end of the day, a little miscommunication with a back marker that cost you. But I think moving forward from here, that's an easy mistake to learn from and try to improve it into the next one.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, Melanson, I've got a question for you. When you're dealing with back markers like that, what kind of car language are you using to communicate with the driver in front to negotiate that overtake going forward? How does that look, or what are some of the big telltale signs?
I try to do a little bit of flashing, but not a lot of people tend to see that sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes people don't see that. Is there a specific car position that you would rely on to make sure that the intended or the blue flagger knows that you're going to be passing them up on the next corner or two? I mean, there's not much you could have done there at speakers or no name. I'm just asking for, in general, is there a trick that you would use to get past some people?
No, honestly, I had no idea what to do in that situation.
That was pretty tricky and a difficult place to catch too. It was on the exit of a corner and just lighting it up in the rear end and getting that tank slapper. Not much to do in that situation to really help you out, but in other places, if you caught them anywhere else, like you said, a flash of the headlights would have clearly indicated that you're the leader battling it out for P1, P2, and people would have dove out of the way. But like you said, just an unfortunate location to be caught up in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but great race. That was phenomenal to see that down to the wire. Were you afraid, or were you hoping to get the bonus lap?
I kind of liked how Wembley waited on the timer a little bit, so we wouldn't have to do the other lap.
Oh, he did wait for the timer.
I think he did.
Oh, man. Okay.
It was close because he had somebody behind him, so I don't think he could have waited too much, but I think he lifted just slightly at the very end, but without getting overtaken.
Yeah,
it was very close.
Race one, I crossed the finish line with 1 second, and I was like, oh, crap, I have to do another lap.
And you had like a 16-second lead, 8-second lead if I wasn't mistaken, so...
Yep.
Neither here nor there. You gave us some action at the end, so I gotta say thank you for that. But Matt Melanson, everybody here taking P3, but also a race win. Again, it's not anything to shake a stick at, and I think moving forward, Matt, it's going to be something to look forward to for the next few races. But is there anyone you'd like to thank before we move on?
Carlos and Jose Guzman for getting me into sim racing.
Excellent. We also saw somebody thanked you earlier for providing some setup help. So big shout out there to Matt for being an absolute legend of the community and helping everybody out. Thank you very much, Matt Melanson, and good luck in your next ones.
All right, we'll see ya.
Good luck, sir.
And I think that's going to do it for the interviews. I don't see anybody else in the green room. So in terms of it, I think we're going to be getting ready to make that transition. And Saagar, I got to say again, it was an absolute pleasure. We're going to be having Carson, Kass come in here and take the reins from this point, but alongside me. But for Saagar, I got to say, I cannot wait to be alongside you again. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Have a great evening. And remember, everybody, stay safe. Bye.
Indeed, and we are not going anywhere, chat. Do not fret. We have Carson Kass alongside us now. Carson, how was your race?
Very, very good. My camera is on, by the way. If you want.
I
am.
I'm
5'2", though. 5'2". Apologies for my informal outfit here. Obviously, I was just in the race. That was a very rough one for the stewards, I'm going to say. I did not have my fair share of clean accidents, was trying to avoid somebody, and completely bottled it. I was in the KTM. I can't drive a nice car for the life of me, but yeah, I had a great time overall, and I'm pretty sure a lot of others had a great time, but I'm very, very scrambled. But thank you to Saagar, right? Is that how you pronounce that?
Yep. Yeah,
Saagar for streaming the rookies. It's allowed me to get back into driving, which 50-50. But yeah, I mean, very, very good stuff from him. hopefully you see him back soon.
50-50. Love to hear it. That's I mean, I gotta say, you still did great. So Carson, you got the entertainment value was there for sure. There was certainly a clip in that, whether it was positive or negative. And Carson also getting a nice little shout out there from Mr. Neil in chat, as well as Coffee Junkie. So yeah, gotta love it.
Thank you guys. And yeah, that was pretty insane. I had a very weird incident at the end, but worked out pretty well. And yeah, the real high. Thank you very much for jumping on the podium. Another sub. We have got so many tonight, Mike. Yes. I was hearing it as I was going.
Yeah, it's been absolutely awesome. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much, The Real High, for that 2-month subscription. That's almost a year. Thank you so much for your continued support here at TRACKILICIOUS, and hope to continue along for the ride. It's absolutely incredible to have you guys along for this. And soon enough, we are going to be getting into that GT4 open session where we're going to be seeing not just rookies and not just pros out there, but everybody in the middle as well.
Yeah, it's a very, very good series. You've got a lot of different drivers. It promotes the rookies to compete at that higher level that the open drivers do. We're halfway through qualifying right now, about 12 minutes remaining. If you're curious on that, this timing is very, very weird. It's right after, so those rookies get out of the race and they jump probably 5 minutes already into quali, which a little bit rough if you have a livery, but yeah.
Yeah, most certainly. And as we get ready here, we are going to be heading on down to the session. And black screen of anticipation before we end up back into the session. And I forgot to do all the HUD stuff. You love to see it. Great streamer. Hashtag Mike is a great streamer, everybody. There we go. You can see the timings.
Yeah, we missed it last week, so the standings are a little bit messed up. Maybe they've been fixed, but we are on the 2-plate system. The red drivers, I believe, are the rookies, and I think we've taken the approach now to where the drivers who are rookies go the first 10 minutes, and potentially the other cars go the second 10 minutes, because I can't help but notice nobody with a white plate has gone out so far.
Yep, definitely seems to be that way, which is very interesting that the rookies who have to join the server immediately have to go immediately out on track. Not sure who thought that one up, but
maybe they should go second.
Maybe
have the better track out there with the rubber being laid down. But I mean, they signed up for it. They know the time is at 8. They know the time is at 8:45, or rather at 9 or 8:30. I'm really good at timing. 8:30 my time. I live in the middle of nowhere in the United States. So, yeah, I mean, very, very good race overall. First half, I'm really sorry to the stewards. I mean, I first off, I'm pretty confused how that first, how was that not a race restart? I know it's over half the grid. Pretty sure that was half the grid.
I don't know, to be honest. I was maybe expecting it. I didn't say anything, but I wouldn't have been surprised if it did happen. Let's just say that.
We had 10 cars in the pits, and let me tell you, I had quite the recovery drive you guys missed. I finished 16th. I got all the way down to 37th. That was one of the I technically avoided it because I got a little unsettled at Eroge because I hit too much curb. But I mean, see a lot of drivers out here who were involved in that incident. As you see a KTM out there as well, P9 for Flawless.
And more comms, yes. This is, in fact, the 6th race that I've commentated today. So, in 5th qualifying session. So, definitely have had, let's just say, a daily dose times 2 of caffeine. And we are thoroughly buzzing right now and ready for this next session. And on that, Carson, why don't you take us on a lap here with Dan Brace, assuming he does begin another lap, as I'm just going to step away okay, this is the end of he's done. Never mind. That's the end of his quali session for Dan Brace, and Reggie King will be, I think, the next driver through, and again, we'll find another driver that starts a lap. I'm not sure Reggie King will continue on here as the checkered flag is out, and we have our other plates going to be heading towards the track now.
Throw me right on Scott, I think. I think he should be the first one out. I can't fully read the timings because my ACC is not up. But
it's Potts. Wait, no, that's an odd plate. Oh wait, no, it's not odds and evens.
It's rookies and not rookies ? Yeah, so the white plates, I believe, have a higher SimGrid rating or something. I don't actually know what the difference is there. I'm pretty sure it's above seasoned rookie in SimGrid. We've got a bunch of different drivers though from all around. Most of these guys have graduated from the rookie section here. Pottsweaver, I believe, is one of them. One I am pretty sure of though is Joe Khalil and Scott Sullivan, 2 drivers behind Weaver here, as there is tons of graduation here. It's almost like AAA to the majors. If you're a fan of baseball, I'm unfortunately not because I'm a White Sox fan. Potts Weaver here doing a very, very good job warming those tires. It's the outlap. Everybody's going to see not too much action here. They're going to probably hit a massive Q right at the end at Spa.
Yeah, Potts will be the first one on his lap, as you can see, using all of the track, just exploring it, right? Trying to find where the track limits lies, and on the outlap is the best time to do that. Potts Weaver, just, you know, he paid for the track. He's trying to use it all.
Yeah, and I
also got Mr. Mike Patrick in chat. Yeah, Mr. Mike Patrick is also a White Sox fan, it turns out.
Oh, man. I would, yeah, I mean, it's a tough life as a Chicago sports fan. Nothing is good. There's nothing good here. And if you were curious, the White Sox and the Cubs are the two worst teams in the major leagues the past two months. So it is pretty interesting in the city of Chicago. A lot of peril. Unhappy summer. The Bean, which is one of Chicago's prime tourist operations, finally got opened though. So some positives, but not much going on.
Indeed. Also, I forgot Spady's onboard lap again. Okay, Carson, remind me in the race. Do Spady's onboard.
He's got a race.
In the meantime, I tell you what, why don't you take us on board here with Mr. Potts Weaver as he begins his lap.
Potts Weaver here is going to start right there. This is McLaren. One of the fastest cars out there on track, and Spa should be quite the best one here. He goes right into turn one. Down to second gear. Surprised, not first, but I'm not that surprised. The first gear of this car is completely undrivable. The car spins a lot, almost like you have zero TC at a section, and it is very, very rough. But Potts Weaver now headed up to Eroge. It can't do it flat out, obviously, in a GT4. He's going to go right here over the curb, let go here. You want to lift early and get back on the throttle as soon as you can, keeping it in fifth gear, as he does a pretty good job through that section there. It says 9:28 on the bottom right lap timer. That is not the timer running here. A very passionate Chicago sports fan. That is true. Yep, Wembley. That's not awesome. I'm also a Bears fan. That is not awesome either. Caleb Williams, though. Big. Potts Weaver here. Now into the chicane after the long straight. He keeps it in third gear. It's more stable than dropping down a gear, especially in the McLaren. One of the fastest cars out there, but one of the most unstable, I do have to say. Is, yeah, on rails, in corners, absolutely. It's just a matter of shifting through those corners and the acceleration. And the car does not like to stay on rails the second you try and put it through a braking section or through a final. It didn't hit you for the first time. And yeah, we had a pretty good run there, Spady, through the first long turn, but not much we could have done. Weaver escaping out of that section now. Right down into, I believe, Carousel's coming up. This isn't, or Carnival? What is it? Campus. Campus is the section coming up, I believe, right?
Fengnas. The Fengnas then into Campus or the Stavolos, however you want to name it. There's so many. This track has been around for such a long period of time that you could call really any of these corners any name you want and you still might be correct. It's just a massive variety. I use the old corner names. I'll just be the first one to admit it. But come on, guys. Why are we changing names of tracks when we have a Piff Paff? Yeah, exactly. There you go. There's another term for the corner through Piff Paff. That's a very common one. But yes, I call it the Fengnas. You could also call it the Campus. I think Campus is the more recent term. I think you might be right, actually. No, you're not. No, Fengnas. Yeah. Campus is afterwards.
Campus is afterwards, yeah. And then that reminded me to pull up the information chart there, as I'm a good streamer too. You think Mike is bad whenever I run a stream. I gotta say, Mike does an excellent job, and you will notice that the second you tune into a stream that I run. And it's a little rough around the edges. We get it done, though. A lot of passion, a lot of heart. As Potts Weaver comes to the line here. Earlier line, and he goes second overall. Brace still in the lead. As Melendez, another red plate, who goes out a little bit late. Goes second as Ali Raza, a clear favorite, back into first. He's back in the GT4 Open Championship after 2 seasons of absence.
Yeah, and Ali Raza absolutely back on the ball. We saw it in the GT3 Championship, taking the win, and with that recovery. And now we're going to be trying to do the same in the GT4 Open with Nicholas Mendez. I wonder if there was communication that was saying that Nicholas Mendez is actually a white plate. I'm also very surprised that Dan Brace is a red plate. I don't know how that's managed to happen, just to be completely honest. I think Dan Brace is not a rookie at this stage, but this, again, why I personally don't understand why we do the red and white plates in the GT4 Open, because it's open to everybody, and it should just be an open championship. But people don't agree with me behind the scenes, and that's okay. Yeah, I'm calling them out.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense at a level where if it wasn't based on SimGrid, and SimGrid is not always awesome. I have a SimGrid rating of 1400. I don't even know how. Like, it shouldn't drop that much. I've done about 20 races total, and I mean, I'm not finishing horribly, but it's a little bit confusing how that system works there. But once you qualify from rookies, you're a white plate. But there's drivers here who are technically capable of driving in rookies because they're a seasoned rookie on SimGrid, which I believe is about 2,250 is the limit there, or 2,500. But I mean, it's very hard to get out of that once you've dug your hole there. And so there's drivers who are starting racing there, or were like me, at a 1,400 at one point and got a lot better. And the SimGrid rating does not reflect that.
Most certainly. And George, how's the racing been going so far? Well, if you missed the rookies, then you missed quite a lot. So far, we're in the qualifying the qualifying of the Open, so no racing has happened just yet, but I would highly, highly recommend going back and watching some of those rookie races because, oh my goodness, you missed out on more than I could possibly describe, to be completely honest. I don't think there's a highlight reel long enough for what we've seen.
Yeah, and I don't think there's enough thanks that these stewards could get for what they're going to have to go through tonight. That is a very long list, and I mean, like, it is like when you buy something with the terms of service attached on a receipt, it is the receipt machine just keeps going and keep going. And I'd not be surprised to see over half the grid, honestly, with quali bans or pit starts next week. Remember, the lap 1 here is a lot less penalized than rookies. Any contact is a little bit less frowned along. The rookies is one of, honestly, my favorite championship to watch and participate in. It is an absolute cluster blank.
Absolutely. And also, to answer somebody's question in chat earlier that I missed, that was asked like maybe 20 minutes ago, if you're still here, shout out to you. But no, we do not have any Xbox leagues currently. We are going to be just primarily a console-based league. I think I forgot to answer that question in my head, but then I never said it out loud, which you gotta love when you do that.
Yeah, and also I think it's important to outline, even if you are on Xbox and you only have like maybe a laptop. That is a sideways car, but that's Skylar Smith.
That's Church. Jacob Church.
Jacob Church, same livery, surprisingly, as Smith earlier, but Botsweaver in third, doing a great job so far. Honestly, massive pace out of him. I believe he had a very rough, in terms of luck, first race at Hungaroring, so looking to bounce back from that potentially as I try and pulled up the Spring West Coast Wednesday, which was not where we are tonight.
Not just yet. That'll be up and coming this Wednesday. In fact, that's a great plug and a great segue to our calendar. Why don't we take a quick little look at what events we have to offer here at TRACKILICIOUS. We are currently watching the GT4 Rookies as well as the GT4 Open, or rather we just watched the GT4 Rookies. Now we have the Open ahead of us. Next week we'll be at Misano. This week at Spa Francorchamps. We also have the Street Stocks iRacing Championship coming up underway tomorrow. That's going to be at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And we have our Syntho Drive back again. That's going to be with Josie Koo. West Coast Wednesday as well on Wednesdays. The championship we were just mentioning, that is going to be later on in the evening at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, or I think about 8 p.m. Pacific Time. And our iRacing Championship also back at it again for the Superlight Formula. And of course, the Road to the SRO Championship at the end of the month, June 29th, for the Road to the SRO Community World Challenge. Spa Francorchamps being our first track with the GT3 main event. Also on Sundays, that's going to be every Sunday next week as well, June 30th. Definitely be there for Indianapolis.
Yeah, make sure you tune in to the Road to SRO Championship, June 29th. I will be spending 6 hours on cast. I will not be getting off. I do not plan on getting off, whether they would like me to or not. I am going to have the most fun for the 6 hours. But a special thank you to the people that keep these servers running like that challenge and keep us towards the top of our game in the booth and outside of it, keeping these tracks afloat. The Patreon supporters, which I don't think this is fully updated. We'll do our best to get on that. But thank you very much. Your support and your donations are the reason that we're here tonight with high quality and the highest quality we can provide.
Indeed, and now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Qualifying is over. Ollie Raza up at the top. He is on another lap, though, and will be able to improve, but I'm not sure he's going to need to. I don't think there's too much, no offense to the rest of the grid, but I'm not sure there's going to be too much competition for Ollie tonight. It seems that this might be a one-horse race up at the top, and it is going to be a McLaren. Ollie Raza 1.5 seconds quicker than Nicholas Mendez. who's running in second right now. Potts Weaver very close behind him, 3/10, and behind that is going to be Mr. Dan Brace, Dan Ironman, or Dan Super Rev Brace. He actually blew up his engine not too long ago. Well, okay, it's been a while, to be fair. That was a long time ago over in Barcelona, but I will never let him live that down. I'm not even sure if he knows I know, but regardless, us hydrate as we have Zuka the Bazooka joining us, and we'll get a little hydrate involved. Also, Scon23, thank you very much for the follow, as well as King Crew. Thank you for the follow, or King Crew as well. Thank you for the follow.
Yeah, if you're curious about standings, Ali Raza not at the top of this list. It was Mark Kame, who unfortunately is not here tonight. He is second overall in championship standings, but he was bested by Mark Kane in the first race, but second race not so much because he's not here, I don't believe. Mark Kame, I think, is busy, but very, very talented driver, and luckily we'll be using his drop round on this. Should give Ali Raza some serious contention throughout the section here, and if he ends up winning tonight, his drop round will be a second place, if I can make that as
well,
yes, cute.
We actually have an update for him, as Mark Kame is in the lobby, actually just not able to set a quali lap. Vegan chat here is going to be Mark Kame, and it got disqualified like a moron starting in the back. So I'm assuming, is that a pit start penalty? I'm assuming that you picked up from the previous week then? There's a nice pit entry practice from Potts Weaver. You're going to be using my words to the wisest. Again, practice your pit entries, everybody. Jacob Church, is he going to follow suit or set a lap? It looks like he is going to set a lap, but no improvement will be made.
Oh, no, Mark. That is a tough way. Driving at first, didn't fully understand the scenario there, but
read the driver's briefing.
Very talented driver. Yep. Read or listen to it if
you
can't read it. I don't know if the driver's briefing is always updated, to be honest with you.
That's fair.
But make sure you listen to it. Bring yourself the time, but we have to jump right into our grid here. I think we've got quite the long grid tonight. Question mark?
No, it's 27 cars. We can go for a nice little a long build up on these cars and give a nice in-depth description on them, as we had 40 drivers in the rookie race, which was absolutely awesome to see. And if you are interested in signing up for that, signups are still available on SimGrid, link in chat. And we have, let's see, as I pull up, or we just stall briefly before the music is going to be at the proper length, and now we can finally get on into it. Let's meet our drivers that are going to be here tonight, and starting us off at the top, I mentioned it before, it might be a one-horse race. I certainly hope not, but we will see. Ali Raza and the Razzle Dazzle Motorsports starting off here in the number 30 machine, the McLaren, with the likes of Nicholas Menendez, company for him in row 1 in that beautiful GT Racing Academy Porsche. Next to him, Potts Weaver for the number 13, lined up in P3, Dan Brace in the Iron Man Porsche coming home in 4th, Professor Kenotis rounding in 5th. Lovely result there for the T-Swizzleicious. Number 42, Dylan Kaiser, 6th quickest in the 48 machine, with Charles Wimbley in 7th. Justin Beachley in the Beach GT coming home in 8th position for the number 18. John Hawley in 9th, and rounding out our top 10 in the 444, it is going to be the Reckless Racing of Casey Schutte.
Starting 11th will be Randy Gross in the Project 5 Apex Advisory Machine with Vomolik Yaie in the Team Grilled Cheese livery behind, with George Elmer starting 13th. Scott Sullivan will be in the Honda F1 machine in 14th, with Reggie King in the RKR 111 starting 15th, with Alex Freeman in 16th behind. Joe Khalil will start 17th in the Khalil Camo 26, with Shaw Franks in the Love Wins Racing 73 and 18th, followed by Moriko Yatanashi in 19th. And rounding out your top 20, Brian Clementi in the 100 McLaren.
Yeah, new driver to the grid, it seems, Brian Clementi, with the likes of Spady Bud company behind him. Rally Dutchy in the Mad Fox Am Machinery, the Porsche, going to be coming home in 22nd. Jacob Church in the 1 Bigley, the 253, coming home in 23rd. Joe Fias in 24th for the KTM Crossbow, a car that Carson knows all too well. John Wad, 25th quickest for the number 95. Mark Kame, who unfortunately went out at the wrong time in qualifying and ended up with a back of the grid start. Will be starting from the back of the grid, our previous race winner. What can he do? It'll definitely be eyes on him for the start. And last but not least, in the speed is not key, the Janetta coming home in 27th position there.
And Jaeger in the worst car actually to drive at the GT4 level at Spa, but obviously he's proven he can drive it. Was in the top 10, I believe, that first race, or was in the top 10. I think I actually passed him because he made a mistake, unfortunately. But he's been very fast in that car, despite its massive limitations, and specifically the rev limiter not going straight enough. But yeah, I mean, that car, it hits its top speed just too early.
Carson, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
No? That's not a grilled cheese, is it?
Let me just make this a little bit more clear, folks.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness. That is there's That's my favorite. That's my favorite car on the grid. No bias, no reason for bias. Is the one on the right. I was mocking you, is what that clip was on a stream where I was by myself, and he found it. I guess he was watching it. But Molekaie with quite delivery out there on the grid.
Oh my goodness, I'm actually crying. That's hilarious.
I have. That's an inaccurate, unfortunately, because I did get a haircut, but absolutely beautiful livery. Both sides. Both sides.
Oh my goodness. Vomolek, you need to send that to me. Please send me this image of Carson if you are watching. I need it.
I'll let him know that you're requiring of it. Sounds like we might have a new Discord and Twitch emote coming your way for future use, as well as those new features that Twitch added. I don't know what they are with the bits and all, but
apparently he didn't even know
them. Certainly you can use them.
And don't forget the onboard. Thank you, Spady.
Gosh. Yeah, I have that written down on a post-it note. No worries, man. We'll get to it. I've actually, he's got a curse. Spady, I've missed it 4 or 5 times on him. By the way, you do get special camera time, as you can see, if you put me and Mike on the car.
I mean, how could you not? Like, that's just, I can't get over that, to be completely honest. That is absolutely brilliant. You know, it was once my goal to have my face on every single car in the grid at one point in time. I never thought that dream would somewhat slowly work its way to a reality, to be completely honest. And I'm okay with it, to be honest. I'm somewhat okay with it.
I've been a massive proprietor of putting you on the car. I don't think I've said anything about me, because I think it's a little bit surreal now that it's happened, because that's definitely the first for me. We don't have a lot of source images of me. I haven't really uploaded one. Somebody's asked me, and I just was like, I don't have one. But Bullet's clearly found one he's got a liking to as we extend this very, very long outlap. Full 7 minutes.
Yep. It's 4.3 miles here. As I mentioned earlier, the track length here today in American measurement is about 1,475 Mercedes AMG Evos long, in case anyone was curious.
Interesting. Not quite sure I would have reckoned that. I actually heard that fact on stream. I was listening and watching stream while I was driving, and honestly, didn't affect me that much. I wasn't doing much else. If I was in a voice call, that probably would have absolutely sold me, but Ali Raza here in the Razzle Dazzle Motorsports machine. I do want to talk about this very, very briefly. Is in the McLaren. He started the BMW last week. I'm pretty sure he'll pick up a points penalty for switching cars. So it's not quite over for Mark Kame, who I believe there is a drop round either way. So whether he's showing up or not, he still has an opportunity for points, and he can move his way up the grid, and I wouldn't be surprised. He's got rapid pace out there.
Absolutely, and we will be seeing that, I'd imagine, unleashed at some point in time here, but I guess the question is Nicholas Menendez going to be able to keep up? I don't know. He's got a lot of work ahead of him, that's all I got to say, as I sound very optimistic, I know, but I also, look, I'm a little bit realistic here. Ollie Ross, anything can happen in racing, and it normally does, but I will admit it might be a one-horse race. But at the back here, in the mid-pack, I should say, in terms of the front, it is, it's anyone's game. It really is. It's the Argentine of Nicholas Menendez in the GT Racing Academy. We have Potts Weaver, who had a smashing qualifying result in that McLaren. Behind him, the AMG. It's a very decent manufacturer distribution. We got Astons, we got BMWs, we got Mercedes, McLarens, Porsches, as well as a couple Genettas and Alpines thrown in the mix as well. It is lovely to see. KTM, yeah, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. It is
yeah. I was going to say, yeah, Mendez is definitely going to be a lot more looking in the mirror than he will ahead of him. But Ali Raza going to lead them away here. I'll hand it off to you. Noah's Ark formation.
Indeed, 2x2 Noah's Ark formation here as we get ready to go green. It is going to be Ollie Raza on pole position. Nicholas Menendez lined up alongside as we begin the rolling start. I'm Mike Nause in the booth. Joined with me tonight is Carson Kass. And this is, of course, the calm before the storm. We approach the total energy board. And we will go green, green, green. And Ollie Raza is a little bit late there on the throttle, but it seems to be enough to get alongside and ahead. Pottsweaver behind, side by side with Dan Brace beginning the ascent up the hill. Professor Cronotis manages to slot in behind as well. Everybody fairly nip and tuck at the start, but this is where the real aggression is going to begin. Pottsweaver, who is now going to be under threat from Professor Cronotis. It's a drag race down to the Lecombe chicane. Pottsweaver with a great amount of momentum as well. The Porsche not able to respond, but can he respond on the brakes? It seems like no. Now behind is going to be the likes there of Charles Wimbley. Side by side is Justin Beachley, and Dylan Kaiser sneaking his way through, trying to make a move on to the outside now. Seems like he will be successful. Usaban Umbanas, or excuse me, that's Vmolek Yaiye. Also here in that Swiss machine, our favorite livery on the track, the Team Grilled Cheese, making it by John Hawley, also trying to find his way by Casey Schutte.
Yeah, definitely going to be a big look throughout this section here. The car's taking different lines through spot. Some can take the curbs, some can't. As Molokai going to have to back out through there, that section. Not much you can do. Justin Hawley on the wrong line. There's no other line as we've seen throughout that section, as I cannot even believe the side every time I see it. I just laugh a little more. But the cars in front, all top four pole sitters do not have the I guess the luxury that Professor Cronotis will in the alongside, as it looks like Hawley here alongside with Schutte. Schutte under pressure from both Hawley and Vmolek. They can do a tight little pack there through that section here. Vmolek on the inside line. Looks like he's got the advantage. Hawley slowed down through the Aston Martin there, but that inside goes to out for Vmolek. And everybody will stay quite set as they just remain alongside into that inside line. Hawley backs out, tries to go for the switchback though, but Yaiye, right line on the apex, he'll stay ahead.
Great driving there with that added horsepower from both mine and Carson's face on the livery. It's adding about 4 extra horsepower and also 4 brain cells, because that's the total that we have in the booth. But now side by side with the likes of John Hawley, and John Hawley just has the raw straight line speed, makes it look easy.
Yeah, the Camaro, I just did what you did with the Mustang. Goodness, the Camaro has that massive V8 engine. It's very difficult to beat in a straight line. Vmolek got a good exit, but the slipstream combined with a massive engine in the front of that car keeps it alongside. Is relatively clean first lap. I'm very proud to say, as I think somebody just went off on the yellow, and yep, I'm totally wrong.
That's Dan.
I cursed him as Dan Brace, top 5 starter, I believe, off the track. He's down to 20th. Let's take a quick replay here. That maroon and gold car in that section there just looks like maybe he overcooked it. His own mistake there. Too much throttle. Car kicks out to the left side. Little bump to the wall, as that is rough for him.
That's what you call just Porsche things, chat. That's what happens when you have an engine that's slightly too far back from where it should be. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah, I used to drive the Porsche. Now I'm on the KTM, but Professor Cronotis around the left side. Oh my goodness. He moves into that, a rocket up that left side. Not quite sure how the BMW remained alongside, got that speed back, but he'll be on the outside to this section here, but it'll turn in. The green BMW there, Wimbley, who was competing for a podium in the first race, doing the same in the second. He'll defend against Cronotis, and Taylor Swift will have to wait another day.
Or will he have to wait just one more corner? He's trying to find any form of window that is available, not seeing, though, any daylight just yet. The blinds are down, or are they? This is actually going to be a better line for Charles Wimbley. He's going to have the inside line for No Name, which is going to be advantageous. Great defense there so far from the number 5, but I got to say, Professor Cronotis, he has some pace.
And that's a guy who's, in rookies, and he's competing in rookies, competing in the open. That tells you where he is at in pace. Oh no, Cronotis too far to the right, broken the grass. He's outside. He'll lose a ton of positions, moving all the way down to, it looks like 6th, 7th, as Justin Beachley goes alongside. He'll have to back down to the Beach GT car ahead.
Very unfortunate there, and now is going to be immediately back under threat from John Hawley behind as he tries to recover the game and make the attack onto Justin Beachley in the equal machinery. It'll be very difficult. Those two have a long history. Of course, it's a good history, not a bad history. Just a long one. They've raced with each other through a few seasons. We also have Mark Kame here side by side with Dan Brace. This is a battle that I wouldn't have expected to see down in P20, but I certainly would have expected to see it regardless as they continue on the drive here for the Porsche. That's going to be Jeff Franks trying to find any advantage as well as he tries to get by Mark Kame. It's going to be a really, really advantageous look if he can make that happen. But again, I think Mark Kame here, he has the pace. He's our previous race winner. Just unfortunately didn't quite get that qualifying in, and now is going to be trying to follow Dan Brace through the field. Oh my,
yeah,
Dan
if
is...
I'm Mark...
Oops.
Ooh, yeah. Dan braced the
Dan's
right,
going
almost
for
in the
it.
back bumper of Yatanashi there, but he's going to get around on that inside line. It'll be the favorable one for him. Wouldn't be surprised if Yatanashi backs down here, but Mark came right on that back bumper. This is for position. It came, I was about to say, should probably go into the pits here. He's got more pace than he knows that than most drivers out on this grid, and this will give him clean air. This is an excellent strategy. I like it from Kane.
It's an interesting one. We'll see how it pays out, and it's going to be down to tire wear, really. In 45 minutes, I don't think we're going to be seeing too much wear, so in the long run, I definitely think, yeah, that's a good strategy, unlike Jeff Franks and Jaeger Karu have found. Jaeger Karu has unfortunately done a little spin around here. Let's see what happened. I would imagine as Jeff Franks yielded, he may have caused this collision, so let's take a look here as the Love Wins racing car heading down to the turn 1, a little late on the brakes. Sends it to the inside and unfortunately just doesn't get it stopped in time. Immediately parks it. Jacob Church getting brushed there in the I guess exchange. Just very light damage. A trade of paint there for him and won't be too much of a worry. John Wad sideways.
Woo! Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Woo! Okay, John Wad, good job not to just, I guess, end everybody involved in that scenario there. He stays all right. Reggie King, though, up in that front section. Oh, my. Helped John Wad with his livery earlier. He'll come back next week. But I see he's picked up some damage from earlier incidents. And that's definitely not helping him on a Rouge. As Reggie King puts pressure on the car ahead. Yeah, he's up 4 slots, no?
Yeah, 3 slots actually from P12 where he started. It's been a great fight so far. Our biggest losers at this stage, Dan Brace down 14 positions, Casey Schutte down 5, and Jeff Franks down 5 as well. Biggest winners, 4 positions gained for Spady Budd, who has just been absolutely on it in these past few races. A huge gain in the rookies, and one that he certainly deserves to pat himself on the back for. Looks like that's going to be transitioning over. I think someone's been practicing, Carson.
Yeah, and I've been there with him as well, trying to help him as much as Pranav Kalevala, one of the team owners of Team Visceral Esports, if you're familiar with them, has been a massive help to him. And I'm not surprised that he's picked up that pace. He actually DM'd me right after the race. This is the first time I haven't crashed into you, which is true. We do have a history. Spady Budd, though, under pressure from one of the top 5 sitters in time, as he's massive pressure. The bump from the Porsche, he just drives in the back of him, helps the Camaro out quite a bit. Now he should have a little bit less pressure, a little bit too much lift, but Spady Budd going to keep it fairly all right. I mean, this is not great from Brace. Brace on the inside, but Budd not going to let him have it. He's going to take the advantageous line. A little too advantageous, goes outside, but should have a fine exit here. He's in the Camaro, so...
Oh, actually, I think the Porsche would have had him done and dusted there, but Dan runs wide onto the green stuff and doesn't get a great exit. I think, though, still, he has the momentum, he has the speed in the inside line now. Spady is going to have no choice but to leave him room at the apex. Dan Brace, though, runs him wide. They're both deep into the corner, and is that going to allow Clementi in through our new driver here tonight? We're going to go side by side, almost 3 wide down the hill towards Eau Rouge Radion. Clementi needs to be careful here. Somebody has to yield. Clementi's going for it, though. He is going to back out. Very smart there, trying to get the better exit. Dan Brace takes the gamer line, and so does the Camaro of Spady Budd. I would really hope that Spady lifts and yields that position back, because he certainly has not earned it. And we're going to be seeing Clementi go for it here. This isn't going to be a pretty one. I'm going to just throw out immediately. Going into Lecom. Oh, everybody is somewhat on their best behavior. Spady, though, seriously lacking in the middle pedal, unfortunately. And that, he needs to hand that position back after that one. Oy!
Ooh. Maybe some fatigue there. Not sure. They're in the, I believe Yatanashi, I know they're friends. They're technically in the same team on the Mad Fox Sim Racing squad, I believe. So some renewed tension there. Oh, no, that was not great. Dan Brace obviously having a little bit trouble with the back markers. Leading Clemente up into that, and that was almost a tragic erosion, but everybody got through fine. Everybody got through all right, and without too much damage. Some bumping and banging there. Spady, but on the inside line, cut off by Yatanashi. That's just not much he can do there.
Yeah, this is some hard racing we're having down here. Battle for P19. Also, welcome Alejandro Pulgarin joining us. And what's with the tie? What do you mean, Pulgarin? You've been here for years. I've literally worn a tie since day 1 of Trackalicious.
I mean, I actually would be wearing something nice, but I literally forgot to do my laundry. So, awesome caster moment for me there. I was trying to see if mine was still there. I had it hung up on a ring light, but maybe we can do that a little bit later.
Same time,
I've got a Williams shirt on, actually.
I have 3 ties. Yo, shout out to Williams. No, I have 3 ties on. I have 3 ties total that I use. Yes, it's the same tie, though. I will not deny that. I have 3 Amazon brand ties that I have used for years. And yes, I just outed myself like that.
I mean, that probably equates to my one Men's Warehouse tie that I own, the one gray one. But John Hawley here, he's got pressure from Vomolik behind, as well as he's putting pressure on Chronotis ahead, which in turn, I think, leads him. He went a little bit deep, I assume, as Vomolik on that inside line. It's a great job there. A little bit of almost contact, very close for those 2 cars. Vomolik going to be on the inside line. They're going to be alongside into Eroge, I believe. Someone's going to have to back out. It'll be Vomolik on that inside line. He'll have a good run, though, if he can go through it right. Through Eroge, he's right on that back bumper, maybe even a little bit of contact. He's going to have an outside line here, diving to the inside. Take a look from his front spoiler.
Yeah, down to the famous Lacombe chicane, looking for the braking, and it's a flash of the headlights from Yaiye as he says, I'm going to be coming by, and he looks to the inside, though he is going to be a bit too far back, trying to make that switchback attempt happen. It could potentially on exit, as it looks like the Camaro had a bit of an inopportune line. Big slingshot there from Yaiye as they head down the hill now through Bruxelles. Not going to find anything, though, just yet. And I have 3 ties. Yes, you need to remember that, like, 50% of tie colors are limited to us in terms of our streaming ability. We can only use pretty much dark ties and light ties. Nothing with any shade of green on it.
You can do red and blue and pink.
And white.
White.
Sometimes yellow. Sometimes yellow if it's bright enough. But if it's not, then you're out of luck.
Like EA Team Grilled Cheese livery yellow. As he puts pressure here on the car ahead of Justin Hawley. I want to take a look at, speaking of great liveries, Hawley again. If we can take a look maybe at his car while he is defending. This is a beautiful car, Hawley. I believe this is a local restaurant to him, some sort of local thing. You mentioned that you know how he gets most of his liveries, but I looked up the thing. It is quite a local restaurant to him, and quite an excellent livery he's doing them justice for sure.
Yeah, they better be in contact and paying him for that. That's a livery and a half by John Hawley.
Yeah, beautiful there in that 410 car. Doing a great job, and I'm curious if we can take a little look at Mark Kame. I'm curious where he came out. I think he's the 74 car. Don't quote me on that. Nope, totally wrong. He's the 4 car. Behind that even. And he is putting down some pretty solid lap times. I just wanted to highlight that. Putting down 2:30s, which is a little bit worse than Ollie Razzo's putting down 29.5s. But I have to imagine Ollie Razzo's going to be dealing with a bit more tire wear than Mark will be at the end. And we'll just have to see where it comes down, as Ollie is still yet to go down the longest pit lane in the ACC.
Along with the rest of our drivers, everyone 1 mandatory pit stop here tonight. Fixed 25-second fueling with an additional 5 seconds if they would like tires. And there's no pit window. This is Casey Schutte lunging the inside of Reggie King, who has fallen down the field quite a lot. No, wait, Reggie King started down here. He was up in the rookie race, of course, battling quite high up. This time around, though, in that mid-pack, sort of fighting for dear life with the likes of the 444. And Casey makes relative ease. Also, Scott Sullivan, I think, in a battle with the likes of George Elmer. Scott actually going very slow. I think he had an issue through Radion and drops 2 positions. Alex Freeman, though, he is absolutely flying. Looks for the position onto the Jägermeister of George Elmer. He goes defensive with a big squeeze there, at least as much as he can, but it isn't going to be enough. The 14 McLaren, a little late on the brakes, but is going to be enough to seal that envelope and manage to get it done.
Yeah, I assume Scott had to lift there. He was right on that back bumper of the BMW ahead, who's now on the back bumper of the McLaren. Freeman, he's got a car on his outside line. Very unfavorable for the car of Elmer there, but trying to make it stick. He might. Can't keep it alongside for the line to become favorable, though, as now Scott Sullivan going to put pressure on him through No Name. Freeman, bit of a slide that back end now coming completely out. Elmer's going to be alongside here.
And into Pouan, we're going to see a move attempted. This can only go really one way, and somebody has to yield, or 2 people are going to come together, or they can prove me wrong and end up side by side throughout the entirety of Pouan, which is extremely difficult to do, though that is going to compromise their lines massively. And now Scott Sullivan looking for an opportunity on the exit into the Fagnes. They make contact. Scott Sullivan gets by George Elmer. Still, though, side by side, it will be the inside line for Scott, but he's got a much poorer run as Casey Schutte trying to shove the Jägermeister through the corner. Isn't going to be finding any sort of beans just yet. Scott Sullivan also in the Honda F1 Concept checks up to the bumper of Casey and is going to have to hold, or rather, bide his time and wait. Goes defensive now from the 444 behind, as these 4 cars are going to be in an absolute melee here soon enough, and I hope that's not a literal prediction.
And that's Joe Khalil now entering the battle. That fight completely slowed that field down. All these guys running a little bit faster had to all break at some point a little bit more earlier than they'd want to. Joe Khalil trails the field, but Casey Shude sending it on the inside of Reggie King. He'll stay alongside, doing a bit of a defense there. As Scott Sullivan goes a bit deep, Casey Shude, he can keep it all right, goes through that section. That's another car to the pits. It looks like Dan Brace. Dan Brace going to go to the pits, right?
Yep, Dan Brace in, and just going to be coming in early, I guess. It's about... We're 15 minutes into this race, so just going for the undercut and hoping for the best. And it is, again, going to be that fixed 25-second time, 5 additional for tires. But in a 45-minute race, I don't expect these drivers to necessarily need tires by the end. Here on spots, 19 corner track, 9 to the right, and 10 to the left, which means your tire wear is going to be fairly even. Not too much to worry about at one particular side. So it's just about maintenance and management throughout this, and it shouldn't be too difficult. This is Joe Khalil. He's trying to manage his positions gained and trying to make it one more. Looking to the inside now of Reggie King. It's going to be down to who has the later foot on that middle pedal, and it's Joe Khalil. Was it too late, though? It looks like it was. He catches the inside curb, gets tagged from Reggie King, and that is going to strand him off in no man's land.
Yeah, got a very good look of that left side of the car, the bright side. That is not great for Joe Khalil, just a little bit too early, too late, but he's had massive improvements. Came out of rookies, was competing for podiums there, and is competing in the midfield now as we've got Justin Beachley getting closer to the back bumper of Wembley. This battle has been not ongoing for too long, but Wembley has been dropping through the field. Kaiser moving ahead at some point. You got the 2, I would say, most settled settled cars over the grid. And yeah, I mean, they're over the curbs here at Spa, and it's not too important. Here, obviously, you can take whatever line you wish, as you see, but Justin Beachley staying completely off the curbs. Bit of a preference thing, but can lead to a faster line, but a little more unsettled as he eats a bunch of it there.
Yeah, and the AMG is certainly not a car that is unfamiliar to curbs. That was not the camera I wanted. There we go. You can see the battle behind that is happening, Charles Wembley, right now, as it's a absolute melee. John Hawley getting trailed by Molik Yaye, getting trailed by Randy Gross, who is trailing, well, again, John Hawley pushing Professor Kanotis with Justin Beachley involved, and then soon to be in this party, if it goes on for long enough, is Alex Freeman and George Elmer. It is going to be presumably a 6-way fight for P5 if everything goes onto the cards properly, and that's Justin Beachley breathing down the neck, but electing to come in. Looks like Yaye follows suit as well. And a few other cars decide that this is the time to pull the trigger when it comes to their pit stop, saying, I don't want to deal with this traffic.
Yeah, I mean, it can be very, very rough. You don't want a 6-way battle, really, until the end, where you can truly deal with it. And coming into the pits early, you get the undercut bonus. First off is, I do want to mention Mark Kame coming out, I believe, ahead of Dan Brace. So, yeah, 6 seconds ahead of Dan Brace. So that's a pretty good section of where he'll be in the field right now. They came at the midfield. He should be about at the 14th, 13th, 12th mark right now. He's piling out through the field, a little bit behind the field, but still doing a great job there. Is Jaeger Karu looking to set out on the outside of his very good friend Spady Bud, looking for the switchback, but Spady Bud's too slow through the corner. Bit of a very good defense, whether he realized it or not. Spady's slow speed keeps Karu low on the Ginetta, and the Ginetta is not very great in a straight line.
No, certainly isn't, but it is good through the corners, and this is where the advantage will happen. In Eau Rouge Radion, you can really slingshot yourself, but that wasn't going to be an aggressive enough line from Jaeger Karu. You really want to maximize that inside curb. It can be dangerous, but that's where the lap time is if you want to improve. And again, that Camaro is just going to be much quicker, even with the slipstream. Spady defending the inside line. Not sure that's completely necessary, but hey, neither here nor there. And he's deep. This is why you don't get overly defensive, folks.
Yeah, he's going to try and pull himself out ahead of his Karu there. Is going to let him by on the outside line. Sacrifices himself there. Good job not going on the racing line there from Spady Bud. But Jaeger Karu will pass him due to the going deep as he goes almost deep again, a little late on the brakes, but the Camaro is there. Jaeger Karu actually the one to go, I guess, deep, but it actually is a great line there to get that better exit into No Name. And Jaeger Karu, I have to say, is one of those guys who just drives in the grass, apparently.
I feel like this is not what... I didn't see any dirt kicked up. I feel like that was latency.
Oh, it's the... No. It's the green line. He was telling me about that. So that green line on the
yeah.
inside of the curve, you can use it technically or on track. I totally forgot about that. That is a thing you can do, and it gets you more rotation through the corner. So maybe he's having trouble there, but it's a thing you can do if you're willing. Well, he's sacrificing pace. I spoke with him about this. He's sacrificing pace for it being slightly easier in his mind. Also pretty funny, quote.
Fair enough. Hey, to each their own on that one. But that's going to be the Formula 1 line that you see where the car is trying to maximize the minimum speed. You're not going to be really seeing that with the GT cars, as they want that more streamlined entry into Puan and just a better exit in general. Less movement on the steering wheel and overall just easier to deliver power in terms of it. And it's interesting to see. But yeah, if it works for them, it works for them. And hey, more power to them. There is going to be Scott Sullivan into pit lane as Reggie King is going to continue on track for now. But it seems the undercut is going to be the more popular strategy tonight. But if everybody goes for the undercut, well, somebody has to lose out.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ali Raza, who had a massive, great job on the overcut, is KTM there fighting with the absolutely destroyed car of John Wad there, the 95. Not looking good. It is not great right there for him. But the undercut, pretty a popular strategy. And I understand why you want that clean air, but it's not going to be clean. At some point, when you have so many people going through there, Ali Raza obviously winning the race earlier this week by about 10 seconds on the overcut. So it can work, and it has worked for Ali Raza, and I'm sure he's going to go back to it. As Elmer, chasing Brace, he comes out, and that's telling me that Brace is way higher up in the field through that back cut, or that undercut.
Yeah, keep in mind that Elmer was involved in a bit of battling and a bit of scrapping, so we will certainly see when everything is resolved, but I think it is still going to be, you're right, about P10 for Dan Brace, but still a good recovery nonetheless. Also, shout out there, Joker, Sim Racing in chat, Heslin, Kyle Heslin from the previous race, thank you very much, and thank you to Pulgarin. Good to see you back, and hope you're seeing some races here soon as well. Here's Jaeger Karu and now Moriko Yatanashi. It's really a battle between the Mad Foxes at this point.
Yeah, I kind of want to jump on board here. You see the difference in the Ginetta, what lines he can take compared to the GT4 car ahead, as he's also on the right side of the car. I forgot to mention that. The Ginetta is a right side driver car. If you were curious about that, he takes a bit of a wider line there. Not great from him. Into that other section, he's a very fast driver. But Jaeger Karu is... oh my gosh. Jaeger Karu has a little bit of problems with just keeping it on track, and that might be down to his car selection from time to time. As Yatanashi goes very wide. This should be good for Karu, could capitalize more if he wasn't in the Ginetta. So he takes a little bit of curve there. He goes almost sideways. The correction keeps him straight. Goodness. Karu almost cursed him there.
That's why you don't take the line that Karu took that we saw. That's why you don't go on to the green chat. You get way too much of an entry into Puan, and you actually don't want that aggressive of a corner because you'll just drive right on the grass. And if you do that, well, thankfully the Ginetta has a good amount of downforce and isn't the quickest. Otherwise, I'd imagine that would have turned into a pirouette move relatively quick.
Yeah, and that's just the benefit of the car as he goes wide again. Bit of a better exit, but Spady Bud gonna definitely make that 0.7 gap close through that section there. As Ali Raza gonna head into the pits right about midway, a little later than midway through the race by about 20 seconds. But yeah, I do want to say I actually don't think it was Karu that told me that. There was a bunch of people in the rookies doing it because they were having trouble on that entry and weren't having trouble lifting, so they would just lift through that section. But Nicolas Mendez, the GT Racing Academy Porsche, the 756 car, in first.
For now. As Ali Raza came in, obviously not quite on merit necessarily. Potts Weaver behind now in second. Charles Wimbley in third. John Hawley in fourth. Our first pit runner of the current session is going to be Rally Dutchy, but soon that will change as quite a lot of people decided to come into pit lane this lap. We've approached that halfway point, and it is time for most of these drivers to pull the trigger. Not seeing too many tire changes. I am seeing one from Justin Beachley, one from George Elmer, one from Clementi. It looks like Yaiye elected for no tires, and a few other drivers. Rally Dutchy electing for a heck of a damage repair, it seems. Or no, it just glitched out. I think it just glitched out.
Yeah, a bunch of cars coming out of pits right now. Oh, yeah.
Why is it saying that he has a pit time? Anyways, we'll just pay no mind to that on the ACC TV. That's not happening.
Yeah, I probably should have installed ACC TV today, but I did get it. So we're so back. Anyway, Ali Raza coming out of the pits now, and if you're curious where Mark Kame is in relation, about 20 seconds behind, or rather, no. Yeah, no, about 20 seconds behind, so he's had a massive improvement that'll put him really in that top, almost close to that top 5 range as we see drivers pan out through this other section. He's got a few drivers ahead of him, Beachley specifically, and Yaiye. but they should be higher up as well as Ali Raza comes back on track.
And Justin Beachley now in a fight of his own. What has happened? Oh, no, this is pit exits. The yellow flags just briefly being thrown out as they're going to be rejoining in a line of fire just about right next to Justin Beachley. Not going to have a good enough exit, though, to capitalize. Randy Gross behind now. And Vomolek Yaiye really feeling the pressure. But again, with that 4 extra horsepower with the car, with our faces on it, I think that's really going to be making the difference here tonight.
Yeah, it is a great inside line there. Hits that perfectly on that right side as Justin Beachley eats way, way more curb, and you can see that. That is the benefit of the Mercedes. Boy, does it like curb, and boy, does it not matter how much curb you eat. Your lines essentially are, you have an increased margin of error, which is very, very nice. It is. I drove the GT4 Mercedes. I had way more pace than I did in the KTM, but for some reason I just felt sick driving that car. It was too good for me almost when I went over that curb, and I felt that there was no difference there. But Justin Beachley in the Beach GT car, hoping for sunshine and pina coladas here as he approaches the back bumper of grilled cheese. Or
Hey, you could have ran with it.
I was thinking about food.
Yeah, aren't we all, to be honest? Also, Dr. Porkchop, speaking of food, saying that you'll join the series as soon as you make it out of the rookies. Well, let me just inform you, you don't have to actually graduate technically to join the series. Even if you are a rookie, you're more than able to join as a rookie. You can see there's red plates and white plates out on track. So you're more than welcome to join this championship, Dr. Porkchop, if you would like. Learn how to pit early and get a little bit more track time. Obviously, if you're in that rookie championship, it's hard to manage both. This one goes a little bit later, and it's just a lot of driving overall, so fatigue will certainly play a role. But if you are interested in driving and thinking that's limited factor, no, you're all good to join whenever you would like. And that goes for anybody. It's open.
I can't recommend the GT4 Open enough. A bunch of rookies already do it, so it's kind of like having an extra 45 minutes of rookies here as Beachley. Massive exit for him. Vomolek seems to have lifted a little bit more. He'll be on that outside line. Vomolek defending the inside, sort of, right in the middle of the track. He'll go through that apex pretty well. Beachley with a little bit of a better exit, but through that second section, they'll take the same line. He'll be down to the exit here, and Vomolek will stay alive another through corner there, but I cannot recommend the GT4 Open enough. It is great track time. Teaches you excellent skill if you're worried about the pace of being a backmarker, which is a very helpful skill because you will crash, and it will happen through the pit section. But there's Vomolek, a little bit of a wide line there. Beach GT car looking towards his inside quarter panel, and we remain safe. No contact there from Beachley.
Vomolek going to get a slipstream help along the straight as well. He needs a very killer exit through Eau Rouge Radion as Justin Beachley is going to be finding an opportunity. That's too much curb, though, for Justin Beachley, or is it? No, that's the AMG doing AMG things, folks. And that is Charles Wimbley rejoining in a section that he certainly is not going to be too happy with. He actually lost quite a lot of time to that undercut, and I think that's mostly due to the fact that he changed tires. Now side by side, Vomolek Yaiye and Justin Beachley. Vomolek sends it on to Chronotis as well, but he is doing his best Sum 41 impression again, and he is certainly in too deep. Chronotis with a hip check. Not going to be too thrilled about that one.
And there's Mark Kame coming past at the undercut, working wonders for him. He needed that clean air, and it's gone very, very well for him. The 4 car putting pressure back into the top 10 here. As he closes in, as Vomolek looks towards that back bumper there. Probably some big damage picked up, or more Vomolek than it did the Mercedes. Honestly, that Mercedes seemed kind of unbothered, as he did go pretty far to the left, but relatively unbothered by the Aston Martin smashing into him there. But both drivers made it out okay, and I hope you made it out okay, because that would have been right where you are.
Yeah, we can't be scraping this car up. It's too nice. This is ridiculous. Now that we think about, why did he put our faces right where people are going to be hitting him? Well. 1 minute and 22 seconds of damage, Karu. Ay. What happened? I think we missed it.
I would say I'd reckon a flip, but for some reason in ACC, when you flip the car, you only get 30 seconds of damage and you're free to go. I don't know what is with that, but if you flip the car, be excited because you only have 30 seconds of damage, no matter if the car doesn't work anymore. Like, your engine could be blown, it will fix it. You've done testing with it. I don't know why it does this. Maybe it was the server settings. But either way, Mark Kame here trying to put himself back in the single digits of points. He hasn't been out of it for too long so far this series. The Arizona native moving in on the other side, trying to find the inside. He'll be forced back to the outside, though, as he's not going to have enough pace to go alongside Beachley here ahead in the Eco Machinery.
Indeed, Mark Kame trying to find the switchback attempt, but that is not going to allow Vomolek a better run now onto the start-finish straight. It potentially will, but Vomolek's going to have to get very aggressive if he wants to make this overtake stick. Also sorting keyboard. Fair enough, and Dr. Porkchop, indeed. Hopefully we see you in this league soon. And Karu, how did your tires die? It's Spa-Francorchamps. What sort of setup did you have?
I mean, it's a Ginetta. He's probably got that increased downforce setup like you mentioned during rookies. And I'd assume that suction those tires a little bit too close to the track and maybe a lot more curb than he was anticipating. But there's not a lot of good things about that car. There's a lot of gamer line takers there. Vimolik seeing the car in front doing it. He's going to use his speed token. Doesn't want to lose out on any of that pace. And honestly, not a terrible choice.
Vimolik actually kept that valid. That was on the absolute margin, but according to my timing charts, that was valid. Justin Beachley, yes, he did take the gamer line.
And Mark came as well in front, I believe, followed him.
He's valid too.
No, he didn't. He's valid too. Those cars were very right on the edge. It is not like an iRacing. It does not have to be half the car. It's if any of the car is touching the line or the inside part of the track, which is the curb right there, your lap is still valid. So they keep it all right. iRacing obviously is the halfway car across the line. And speaking of halfway over the line, Professor Chronotis off there as he's got 2 cars now all over his back bumper. Taylor Swift in danger.
Certainly the Swifties are going to be biting their nails currently, and hopefully that doesn't ruin them. Mark Kame also trying to get anything he can done with Justin Beachley, but he's been bottlenecked for quite a while now. And now into the Fangnes and through campus into the Stavolos, looking for the run towards that bus stop chicane. He's hoping for whatever he can find right now. But with 14 minutes left, I think Mark Kame, he's going to be looking presumably maybe at a P6, maybe at a P5 if he's really lucky onto Potts Weaver. But right now, this is certainly affecting his lap time.
The 3 Musketeer AMGs here all racing together have been slowing each other down, to be honest with you. Kame has been faster than Beachley throughout the entire section, but he's either saving tires or stuck behind. Beachley right now is Shake It Off Chronobiology. This is not one I've heard before. Is there context behind that?
No, I have no idea what he said, but I still love the fact that now anytime I see this livery, I'm going to say, as Professor Chronotis tries to shake it off and get by anyone or hold off a position, that's so good.
That is really
but I don't
good.
know what the other reference is to chronobiology. I mean, yes, he's a teacher, but I don't know beyond that. I don't know. He's a professor.
In
case you were curious.
He's a biology professor. Or Mark Kame, I forgot about that. Mark Kame on that outside line, he's moving towards the inside there, just like... he does get alongside Beachley. Under threat here is Vimolik trying to get involved as well. Almost 3 wide towards Eroge. The Beachley car has more Chronotis. Why did it... Is chronobiology a real world?
I think that was just... I don't know, but... now, side by side, up the hill, Mark Kame gets by Vimolik, Yaye dispatching him, or rather holding it off for now. Vimolik, that is a speed token and needs to be careful because Spady Bud just picked up a drive-through penalty. Vimolik needs to back off of this, in my opinion. He did get a much better exit, but he doesn't really deserve this overtake as it wasn't quite earned, in my opinion, when it comes to the actual valid line. Continues alongside. Mark Kame, not going to allow it to happen, though, in that Racing Union number 8, as he tries to rally the masses and hope that people can get behind him and sign enough petitions to gain him the win tonight, but I don't think that is going to be happening.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Kame, he does have the pace, but Ali Raza was just faster, even in the open air for Kame, and maybe that's saving tires, maybe not, but that driver ahead is. Chronobiology is the study of, yes, actually literally getting old. I am watching it on my second monitor. It's about how living things progress throughout their age. As Justin Beachley here on those older tires, as everybody is actually through that section except that BMW, but Beachley under pressure from Kame, who was trying to find his way through the field. They all move up a position. Somebody ahead of them has pit, it seems, is Justin Beachley. I mean, just doing a great job. Masterclass of a defense so far in that BGT, putting it right where he wants to is Mark Kame, real close to that back bumper.
Indeed, and Justin Beachley's actually on fresh rubber, so that's probably what's allowing him to really stay alive at this time ahead of Mark Kame. Other than that, I think the disadvantage would be too much, and Professor Chronotis is really thanking his lucky stars at the moment. With that AMG lumbering behind, though, it's going to be getting to be a bit dicey soon enough, and Justin Beachley needs to really tie it all together at this stage and try to gain the position on Chronotis if he wants to move, well, obviously forward. But Mark Kame here, he's coming.
Justin Beachley there, close to that back bumper. He's moving in on Chronotis, actually, just cut off about 3/10 in that straight. Looks like Chrono had a bad exit through that other side. Beachley towards that inside line has came right behind him as well. And all these cars are back in the same battle that happened before the pit stage. It is a massive bundle up as Vimolik going deep, trying to avoid the BMW who would have gotten to the back of him behind.
Indeed, and why don't we hop on that rear wing of Chronotis here. And you can see the train that has a mast behind him. He's sort of being a bit of a thorn in the side of absolutely everybody at the moment, it seems. Everyone ahead of him, though, is going to be certainly thanking him. Dylan Kaiser in particular. And Dylan has made his pit stop already, so he is going to be green to go to the end in P4. Alex Freeman has made his stop, and I think is the final driver tonight that needs to do so. So we'll be returning out to track once again. And here we go, the big worm coming down the Eau Rouge Rat, or rather coming down the Kemmel Straight. As every single movement you can see that follows suit. They zig left, everyone zigs left. You zig right, everyone zags to the right. And now into the braking zone. It is going to be no movement whatsoever. And everybody stuck in a bit of a so-called DRS train, even though there's no DRS here.
Yeah, and I have to say, somebody's about to get indoctrinated ahead. That's that Aston Martin who Chronotis is gaining on, and rather I should say Chronotis, the entire section is gaining on there. He's been pretty cool through that section there. Oh no, he goes a little bit wide, but he's going to get that exit there. For Chrono, I thought he was going to have to deal with a Mercedes alongside, but he will remain ahead as the great wall of Beachley will help him behind from defending against Kame. He's been pretty fearless, Taylor's version 2021.
Oh my goodness. That was an ambitious look that didn't come to anything. I was bracing myself for impact on that one, as I'm sure Justin Beachley was, with just the hopes that Mark would slow the car down in time, and he did. Now into the Fangnes, though. They go side by side, and Mark goes sideways. This is going to potentially get collected by Molek. He gets out of the way and finds himself stranded on the side. Unfortunately, there's only one driver at fault for that one, and I think that's himself. It was a bit of an unforced error there. Mark Kame getting impatient. He finally saw an opportunity that just wasn't there. Here's the replay, sending it to the inside. Goes way too deep. Justin Beachley gets a hip check and shoved to the side, but doesn't get really too much damage. And unfortunately, Mark, he is going to be round, and that charge back up through the field has now been delayed. But the battle here between these four drivers, or five drivers to be soon, certainly is not going anywhere. Charles Wembley thinking about it now, but John Hawley to the outside of the bus stop. Are we going to go three wide potentially into the final corner? Not quite. The BMW with just enough space to fit a piece of paper. You couldn't even fit a credit card. And oh, I think there was a light tap, and now we have a bit of a parking lot as there's a chicane in the middle of the chicane. We see that Charles Wembley is stranded after getting tapped from the rear end, but that just light little tap there cost everybody such drastically. Let's take a look here from another angle as we come through that final hairpin or final chicane. There's the tap from John Hawley. He hits his brakes. Behind that, the other car hits them, and well, there's nothing that really anyone can do at this stage. Mark Kame comes on through and says, well, thank you very much. That battle that I was working so hard for and spun for, it just got rewarded with.
Yeah, Mark came and went there. Back in the 8th place where he was earlier. He's going to be behind Molek this time as he loses 7th place, but, you know, going to be very happy with that. It goes through Rouge pretty cleanly there. As that now battle is instead of gone from a battle from P5, now a battle for P9. As Wembley there on the cleanest tires go to the other section. We jump back to 19th. Clemente on the inside line against
Church,
yep, I can read. Church on the inside line, the 100 car. I don't know why I couldn't see that. I was looking at Khalil. I was like, that's not Khalil. But he'll be on the inside line. He'll get that overtake. Clean, cut, and dry. The 100 car. Doing a pretty good job there as Jacob Church and him go through a road pretty cleanly. They'll be fighting, trying to maybe get back as if they can work together. I'm not sure they will, but they can work together to move back towards Scott Sullivan with 6 minutes left. Never mind, I just lied.
Yeah, it'd be a bit of a reach to make up 15 seconds in 6 minutes. Certainly isn't out of the cards. It's not unheard of, but it is very unlikely. What isn't unlikely, though, is Alex Freeman making a move here and getting by Charles Wembley. In fact, that is 100% sealed and done and dusted. Charles Wembley left with not much here in terms of the drive, and he's going to be a bit upset with that. He's tired of being overtaken. He got overtaken on the line last time around. The Sector 3 has not been working well for the BMW.
Yeah, just a bit more race pace, a bit more quality pace than it seems race pace he's put into drivers that have been really giving him trouble out there. But for Freeman, that's knowing your car. The McLaren is absolutely a rocket through turns. It is pretty hard to drive, to be honest with you. It's about somewhere in between the Porsche and the KTM. Not as bad, obviously, as the KTM, but it is not great in terms of stability, and he does an excellent job there, keeping it right and keeping it fast to the turn there.
Indeed. Air Frosty, welcome as well, cheering on the number 26 of Joe Khalil in that Cali camo made by the man next to me, Carson Kass. Lovely Supreme-inspired livery. And doing a great job so far. Rocketing 20th. It hasn't been an ideal race for Kali. He has lost 3 positions since the start, unfortunately. But still pushing through it. Thank you very much for the follow. Green Streak 07. Welcome to the team. Now ahead, John Hawley. He's back on the charge.
Yeah, I will say Kalilis had an excellent recovery driver. He was down 7 from an incident that happened earlier. But John Hawley, closing in towards a road, he's not going to have much of an opportunity. Not close enough to where he can get alongside and past, but not even close enough to get alongside there. Spady Bud.
I'm going to go on board with Spady Bud for the rest of this lap, so I don't want to feel bad.
I was going to remind you, but Spady, we were going to jump in. I didn't want to jump in with them too early because we had a bunch of battling going on throughout the grid. We apologize to Spady, but I'll help you out. I'll give you more onboards later on this week. Wednesday, he'll be along and live, so we'll jump with Spady Bud here. He goes through that left side corner, jumps down to 3rd gear, maybe a bit too low. Wide there, jumps back up to 4th. The Camaro, excellent in a straight line. You can see that right here will brake right at the gate right there. Not moving too far to the left, but doing it pretty well to the right, keeping it in 3rd gear to keep it stable. Back to the left side, a lot of curb there because he can take it maybe a bit too much as he jumps back off. They're eating a lot of it, but not too much of a pace effect there, to be honest with you. It is the Camaro.
Yeah, definitely needs to tidy up that Sector 3 a bit more. There's a bit of time on the table. One thing I'm noticing with Spady in particular is they're using a lot lower of a gear through some of these corners than I would have expected. For example, as we approach here, heading down that not so straight bit here to Blanchimont, up into 5th gear, they should just be a lift. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure you need to downshift here, but Spady, you can see there every single time he comes around, and I guarantee you his engine is not going to be at the white condition right now. It's going to be at least yellow, if not pushing red, because he's really getting those revs up there when he does that, and again, it wouldn't be surprised. That is how you blow an engine, to be completely honest.
Yeah, that's Spady does practice a lot, he does know a lot, but he does most of it by himself. I know he's not a massive guy on watching videos, but he puts a lot of time in himself, and I definitely can appreciate that, but that is just a lift, and a very light one at that, and definitely that engine is not too happy with him right there as John Hawley still putting pressure on this BMW that is on, I believe, fresher rubbers than him. Not sure if Hawley took tires, but the BMW ahead did. That lime green machine, same color as the walls around him. Doing a pretty good job and making it pretty sour for Hawley as he tries to go along that outside line. This didn't go well the first time. We'll see how it goes again. Last time was a parking lot. This time keeps the contact away. Hawley, not enough to get past him there. I was looking for it. It was real close. But the BMW will remain along ahead with the Camaro now of Gross closing in behind after he smashed into the back bumper of Hawley due to that previous incident. So the BMW, I think, caught Hawley a little bit slower than he expected.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well. Both Charles Wembley and John Hawley, to answer your question, there are on fresh rubber. However, Randy Gross is not. He is on old tires and has managed to catch up. So it really begs the question is, was taking tires worth it in this race? I personally do not think so, but some drivers may have had the reward. In fact, Ollie Raza up at the front, well, he did take tires, although he is leading by 30 seconds. A name that actually, now that I think about it, I don't think we've mentioned Ollie since the start. Why don't we mention that we have a race leader here? Ollie Raza, who is pulled away from the start. I don't want to say I predicted it, but it is, it's a one-horse race up at the front here. Ollie Raza with not much competition this week. And Nicholas Menendez behind is going to be 30 seconds with Potts Weaver fighting close in tow. Dylan Kaiser in 4th, Professor Kanotis in 5th, Justin Beachley 6th, Vimolek Yaiye in 7th, Mark Kame in 8th from this recovery drive all the way from the back of the grid. Alex Freeman in 9th, and Charles Wembley now in 11th as John Hawley takes 10th.
Yeah, it's good for him. The Team Julie's and Frozen Custer 410 machine moving into 10th. Finally, after such a long section there, and Randy Gross is going to be all over that back bumper. But I will say he's kind of lost pace as we go. Maybe not. The BMW will still be there, but pretty good. I want to say, give a little shout out to Mendez, who's this is his first season debut. I'm not sure if he's raced in TRACKILICIOUS before. I just realized I'm way lower. I'm like 5'2" again. But Ollie Raza, final lap here as I'm on Sunday time. I feel like we're halfway through the race. There's not 30 minutes to go. There's a minute 12, and we're on the final lap for Ollie only as Mendez comes to the line. He'll start his final lap momentarily as the penultimate continues on for John Hawley here, who's done an excellent job so far this race.
John wishes this wasn't the penultimate lap. He is going to be very frustrated that there's another one to go here. Another 4.3 miles to tackle for these drivers on track here. And it's going to feel like an eternity for them. This battle is not going anywhere. And Charles Wembley, he is aggressive. We've seen it before. Not aggressive in a bad way, but aggressive in a way that he isn't afraid to send it alongside. He's not afraid to make a move when he sees the opportunity. That's going to be a bit of a mistake there from John Hawley as he rides the curb very high. We're going to see the inside covered off and the outside line, in my opinion, the racing line, taken by Charles Wembley. He gets sent on, though, by Randy Gross from behind and has to sort of react to that, which compromises his exit. And now with that defense and the exit from Randy, it's potentially going to leave an opportunity into turn 1 for him, although I would be pretty hard-pressed to believe that Randy's going for it. He's going for it. No, he's not. Okay, that would have been very bold. He's still thinking about it, though.
Yeah, a bit faster there either way. I actually think he could have done it. But yeah, I mean, Wembley, that is rough for him. Gross doing an excellent job to get alongside, just putting that quarter panel there to let Wembley know, like, you have to take that outside line, and now he's got a better strategy going through here is now be defending now, but Justin Beachley and the Beach GT machine putting pressure on Professor Granotis ahead. This battle has been brewing for a very long time. It looks like Beachley's finally caught that back bumper of the Taylor Swift machine ahead. They're very close, just a tenth under the human blink of an eye between these two drivers.
Yeah, as they go now down through Bruxelles, the opportunities are running out for Justin. Sector 3 is where he's going to be trying to make his move and into that bus stop chicane, potentially trying to get that exit that we saw from Mr. Rue against the likes of Charles Wembley. We saw earlier that lovely battle. If you guys missed that, definitely go back and check the VOD because it was one to not miss. Justin Beachley, though, falls off the back bumper. Professor Granotis also 8/10 away from Dylan Kaiser. It's going to be mistakes needed for any one of these drivers, I feel, in order to gain any sort of ground. Justin Beachley, though, he's digging as hard as he can right now, but up at the front, Ollie Raza, 32 seconds ahead, will be crossing the line for the race win. Excellent drive there from Ollie. Nicholas Menendez behind here in second. 32 seconds is the gap. Pottsweaver behind as well, with Granotis still in that fight as they go through where the heck are they? Through Fangnes? Yeah, into the campus and onto the back, not so straight for them to finish out here tonight. Nicholas Menendez heading into the bus stop now, and will be finishing out in second for the Argentine. Pottsweaver slowly behind there, and not quite the photo finish that we had in the rookies, but certainly, Carson, a very exciting one nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. Ollie Raza, back-to-back nights in first, a combined 40 seconds between him and second place, both of those nights. I assume we'll see him back on top of the podium there, as it's more condensed here. Beachley, real big pressure there on the back bumper, but he won't have enough juice there. It'll be pina coladas for him, unfortunately, only, as he will remain in sixth. Professor Granotis rounding out your top five. Beachley in sixth. Vamola Kaie, best livery on the grid, in seventh, with Mark Kame with quite the recovery drive all the way back to eighth. Even an accident there for him, too. Freeman into ninth, and rounding out your top 10 will be Hawley, who's got a massive distance between him and Wembley, and Gross, who was not able to make it back here, finishing 12th with 13th is Elmer. I was like, I know that car. Jägermeister Orange BMW there will round out your top 13.
Indeed, and what a race that we've had here tonight. We'll see if we can get an interview from our top three, Nicholas Menendez, Ollie Raza, and Pottsweaver. Ollie Raza takes the win for race 2 here tonight, and in terms of the championship, it will be fairly close. Mark Kame with an 8th place finish, which is quite good, all things considering, when it comes down to the terrible start that he had, which I guess was not any fault of his. Well, I guess it was his fault now that I think about it. He didn't, he went out at the wrong time and didn't follow the driver's briefing instructions, which resulted in a quali DSQ. Regardless, great recovery drive all the way around, and hopefully here we are going to be seeing some of our victors from the box. In fact, why don't I just rudely move Ollie Raza, because I don't feel too bad about doing that. And Carson, I tell you what, why don't you inform us here as you've caught up with Ollie.
Well, Ollie, welcome back to the top of the podium. 24 hours removed from your first one, actually 23 hours removed from your one yesterday. Combined 40 seconds between you and second place, those two races. Excellent drive tonight. I guess just run us through it. You had a very open front wing, not a lot of drivers in front of you tonight. So tell us a little bit about that drive.
I mean, there's not much to it. I guess I just pulled away from the start, and I think the car is just pretty strong for this track. So I was just, if I had the pace, and it was nice cruise down the road.
Yeah, definitely nice paces. Your average lap time was faster than anybody else's best lap time, if you would like to know. I mean, you were absolutely rapid out there, seconds, and that's goes to show if you practice enough, maybe one day you could be like Ali Raza, but maybe not beat him there. As Mark came his main opponent so far in that first race, did a great job, but unfortunately, there, a mistake of his own leads him to that probably now drop round as he finishes in 8th. He'll be back next week. Ollie, do you know what's your plan next week, Ollie, for practicing at SimGrid Load, practicing at Misano for the open section here in the GT4 Open. It is Indy for GT3, but it is Misano for the Open next week.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll put in some laps and see how it is. But yeah, looking forward to it. I was kind of bummed that Mark Kame didn't qualify. He started from the back, even though he could have. So there could have been some fights between me and him. But I think he did a good comeback. He got up to P8 or something. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and of course that was due to the fact that he came out at the wrong time during qualifying, so a self-inflicted error, to be completely honest, put him at the back of the grid. And so hopefully we see you two battling next week. But Ollie, before we move on here tonight, is there anybody that you would like to thank?
Yeah, thank you guys for putting on a show, and there's a good friend of mine who was also watching today as well. Thank you.
Well, unfortunately, they didn't get to see too much of you, Ollie, as I think we mentioned your name one time throughout the entirety of the race, which, apologies, you kind of checked out and were on a different level than everybody else this week, but next week, I'm sure that will be a little bit different, as Vegan Chat saying. Hopefully, they will be battling, so definitely look forward to that come next week. But Ollie, thank you very much, and good luck in your next races.
Thank you.
Carson? I think that's going to do it here for tonight. It's been quite a long stream. This is the 6th race that I've commentated today, so I am absolutely dead. We're going to be finding a raid here soon enough, as I forgot to do that, as I am a great streamer. But in the meantime, Carson, what were your highlights and takeaways of tonight?
My takeaways is that, sometimes, first off, there's a lot of things on YouTube. I will say you should definitely go to YouTube and learn the lines from there. There is a ton of ACC Go, or the Go setups has a bunch of stuff where you can learn how to take the lines maybe a little bit better, do stuff that you didn't think you may not be able to have through that section. There's excellent resources. Use all the resources you have. Use the community, exclamation mark Discord and chat. Use that community. Everybody is there to have a good time. And as if you're a rookie watching this right now, not competing yet in the Open, go jump in that chat in the Open. Ask for help. Ask for tips. Skylar Smith, I know, put a video, and they gained about 3 seconds throughout the week. 100 laps for them went from 2:39 to 2:36 in only a few days. And it just takes a lot of practice, and it takes a lot of knowing, but it takes being open to suggestions and being open to that. And I cannot recommend enough. Just get in there. Get those laps in and have fun. But, yeah, that's all I have. That's my piece.
Absolutely, and thank you all very much in chat for all of your wonderful support here tonight. We are going to be rating Logan Goes Racing. He's wearing a racing helmet. You gotta absolutely love it. The dedication is real for him. Definitely head on over, hit that follow button, and tell him that we say hi. But we will be back for Wednesday, or are we gonna be back tomorrow? We're gonna be back for Wednesday. Love it.
I'm racing tomorrow, so I won't be streaming. So
we'll be back Wednesday, West Coast, for more action. Add it to your calendar, folks. But in the meantime, I've been Mike Nause. Joining me tonight, Carson, Kass, as well as, of course, earlier, a big shout out there to the likes of Saagar Bakshi for his commentary. And if you are still watching Saagar, definitely join VC afterwards. But as it stands, thank you all so much. I hope everyone has a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. Thank you, and good night.